I gotta open the meeting at being 7:07 or so. Like everybody knows, this meeting is being recorded and the 245 Elm Street, right? That's the one that's being
That is going to be,
245 Elm Street. If you're here for that, or waiting for that, that has been extended. So we have a day's time certain on that.
well, the public hearing wouldn't start until 7:30, so we shouldn't do the vote yet, but the July 21st
Oh, yeah.
is going to be when.
Okay, so when the time comes for the 7:30 for the public hearing to be open, we'll open it and then we'll close it and then extend it to the 21st. It sounds like it's gonna be so. If you're coming for that, you might want to wait. So. Okay,
I know we heard from someone. Do we know, is it able to come up on the screen?
Oh, the screens aren't on. Oh, no, sorry, the screens are always on, and we just don't know where the remotes are. It's raining.
Hey, what are you doing in town? No worries.
well, I guess we can start out talking about the discussion of bylaws for the town meeting. That should get us to the time, so.
Yeah, so a few things, I put in here. One, I know we began a discussion about zoning for data centers. I found some information from some other communities. I've also included, an article that Bill found, and, I just wanted to just kind of share what I had seen from some other communities. I did do a memo just to kind of explain what we've got so far. It looks like so far no one has yet done a full ban, but there are some communities that are doing a temporary moratorium or a partial ban. And one of the reasons potentially to consider the moratorium, in my conversations with town council, they just want to be very sure that whatever it is we say is going to be prohibited, that we really have a strong public purpose and that we've really thought it through in terms of size. And for example, that was one thing that I spoke with John Eichman from town council, and he said, you just want to be sure that if the impact is going to be just as great, you believe, from a very small facility, you really want to understand what that very small facility looks like, because we may be not confusing it with, but potentially inadvertently pulling in other types of businesses that we're not intending to pull in, affecting other types of industry that we don't really have in mind. He said, it really is, he said, if you really are able to state a strong public purpose for a negative impact for all data centers of all sizes, that's fine. But you should probably consider that. The large ones is probably going to be easier to state a strong public purpose, but for some of the smaller ones, it may not be as cut and dry. So which is very similar to what I heard from Mansfield. And I put the email from Mansfield in the folder as well. They said one of the reason they really didn't want to go ahead with the total ban, they wanted to allow the smallest, was because they felt they could really tightly regulate that and not kind of confuse it with other types of industry. So that's one perspective. I mean, that said, as John said to me, if we really want to do a complete ban, we certainly can do that. He's just concerned with the Attorney General's office approving something like that. And he feels pretty, he advised that we look at a year moratorium so that we really have time to very precisely think through what we want to allow, if anything, and not allow, and then at the end of that year, we do a full ban. That was his recommendation. We can take really whatever approach we want to take.
Well,
his interest was in making sure it gets approved.
I think that's a good idea. I've done a little bit of looking into it myself, and actually there's a program on BUR about all the places across the country that is zoning law immediately. Showing, and then said there were some pictures I saw of these huge data centers with a little with a little neighborhood right next to it. The whole thing just humming from the air conditioning units on this, on the top of this huge building. And making, just making like their, taking earplugs a necessity, go to sleep at night. So, that of course is a huge, that was a fairly, well, I believe it was a fairly large one. I didn't have a good frame of reference for what would be called a smaller one. But, they do have some positives in that they provide you with things like when you go into Netflix or you go into these things, it's one of those data centers that you pick up your thing that you get, the content you're looking for comes through there. So if you have a local one, content is pretty solid most of the time. Fortunately, I think for a small town like this, there's not a good place to put it where it wouldn't negatively impact neighborhood. However, again, there's maybe improvements of different situations where they can get these air conditioning units not to make any noise or something. I don't know how to do that, but there could be something, some other things. So the moratorium is a good idea. Doesn't lock the door, but it just kind of keeps it closed for a while.
Well, no one could come in for the period of the moratorium, and then we would have that period to really figure out, is it a total ban? And if so, we show that we really do understand exactly what we're prohibiting,
Yeah.
Or maybe.
They're usually unpopular across the country.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had an opportunity to speak with Chief Staffs of North Reading Fire Department, and he will back our decision, help us along with whatever efforts we need to help along. He's also against data centers in North Reading.
Well, they don't. The federal government and the state haven't got involved yet, because data centers have a value. I think the one that I was looking at was up in Montana or something. It was a $700 million project. $700 million. I mean, so a project like that to a community is like, that's a lot of money. They'll take it. But they have wide open spaces too, where they can put it where it doesn't impact anybody.
Exactly.
And so that's the key. But also in our particular case, and again, I'm not arguing against a temporary moratorium because it does give us a chance to look things over. But I wouldn't want to. What I wouldn't want is for the state to come in or the federal government to come in and say, okay, you have an application for it, now you're going to have to do something with it. You can't just walk away. So because they're important to the communication systems across the country, it could get to the point where the government gets involved, making sure that you have them in order to, because as AI begins to grow, they're one of the biggest users of those data centers. And so as that grows, the need for it is going to grow for the data centers. And that could get to the point where it reminds me of the Telecommunication Act, where everybody was saying no to cell towers, and suddenly the government came down and said, you can't say no anymore. Whoa, that was tricky. So that kind of a possibility exists. That's my argument against the temporary moratorium. I'd rather, if I didn't think there was going to be a while before that happened, I would argue against it. But a temporary moratorium to learn more, there's not going to be a lot more to learn ultimately, I don't think. And the only difference is between the definition between a large unit and a small unit. Now, for small data centers the size of our post office, well, you could probably put it someplace and it could probably help your communication systems in your local community to some extent. So that would be okay. That's what I wanted. That's why I was looking for an expert to come in and tell us what's big, what's little.
I have a name. I have someone from the Lincoln Institute for Land Policy who was recommended to me by
The Lincoln Labs people?
What was that?
From Lincoln Labs.
Lincoln Land Use Land Institute, Lincoln Policy, I always say their name wrong. Lincoln Institute for Land Use Policy is the name. Anyway, they have an expert that Mansfield worked with or attended something that she had given, and I'm going to reach out to her to see if she may have some availability to, speak with us or come here. So I will reach out to her. I don't know, what others think about this. I'm happy to be drafting whatever it is we want to do, whatever the approach is. I can be working on a draft bylaw, whether it is a moratorium or whether it is a ban or,
Well, again, as I said, I'm not, I'm gonna ask you guys to fine on it, but I'm not against I'm not against a moratorium, but but if I saw a train wreck coming down the road, I'd probably want to jump in and put a stop to it, so.
I like the idea of trying to put a ban in place, and then if we find that we're meeting too much resistance and we don't have enough time to do that, then we fall back to the moratorium and buy ourselves more time.
And do it the other way around, backwards, yeah. What do you think, John?
I would agree. I think that the technology is moving so quickly and the infrastructure is not keeping up. And I think that's part of the problem. I've had the opportunity, I've been to Montana. You brought it up, so I'm gonna stick there. It's the fourth largest state and they just went over 1 million people. They got land. There's a lot of land in the country, a suburb like us where we're struggling to find a place for a firehouse, a new town hall, protecting what land we have, I think, even notwithstanding the potential environmental impact into the town, whether it's just a hum or, I mean, look, I don't know how much time you spend on Facebook. I really try to get off of it, but man, the water comes up a lot in this town and
Yeah.
they're big, heavy water users.
All of that,
So
100% loss.
it's huge, the water. I mean, they're working on technology.
I mean, if they're only gonna take all the brown water,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, there's-
And leave us with the clear stuff. That's cool.
Startups working on that, so that's cool, but yeah, I'm kind of with the moratorium because I just don't think for this town, like almost any size applies. And we saw like the report from a couple of weeks ago, smallest one is still the amount of power is
Yeah.
1,500 ohms. That would have to come from RMLD, not from Eversource or a bigger utility provider, so.
And we already stressed them on some of
Yeah,
them.
and again, if we were in a bigger town,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, maybe to your point, like the smaller one, you want to leave a window open, a door open, I mean, for that, but I think with our town, we can safely say with our lack of land that we should at least start with a moratorium.
Put one in the desert with 4 million solar panels and call it a day.
Yes, Ciara, would you?
I was with, Phil, when we were chatting the two stats, I mean, I kind of agree, and I think we're all sort of talking about the same thing. Anything that gives us more of a chance and opportunity to learn more, understand the impacts more. Maybe make them use the brown water if that does happen. But yeah, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything new to add, to be honest.
I have a energy consultant that I work closely with who is not able to assist us due to a conflict of interest. However, this is just me passing along a conversation that I had. I can't back it up with anything. He very highly recommends that we do not allow this. He sees the impact of the firsthand, and he's the one who sent me that link that I had sent out. Sorry. Is that Tewksbury that was mentioned in that one?
Hello.
Lowell, might have been Lowell, yeah.
oh, yeah, the one.
And
Yeah. So, I see a little lean towards the ban.
Just, one of the advantages of doing the temporary moratorium first would be if we were to write a bylaw banning it, and the Attorney General's office had an issue with that in October, we may be without anything until the next town meeting if we didn't have a special town meeting. If we did a temporary moratorium for a period of a year, we would have that, and then we would have the time to write a bylaw that we felt confident could withstand Attorney General's office review, and we would still have something in place for that period of time.
Somebody else might in the meantime do one that passes muster and we can copy it.
Let somebody pass one.
Yeah, somebody, well, I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel,
It could be. Yeah, we don't even know how the Attorney General's office will review the Mansfield one because it's so new. But it might be helpful to see those things. It would certainly could start with a ban. There's nothing to say that we couldn't, but if it didn't stand or if it was struck down partially, then we might have this period of time where we didn't have it.
So I guess I'm still on the moratorium side. To give us a chance to see what else happens, what goes down, and whether or not somebody comes up with a good law. But I think all we're going to find is more, and what I haven't found anybody with a truly positive take on it, other than a couple of big companies communication companies who need these in order for them to grow and be successful. So, but that doesn't put any money in our pocket. So, and again, the utility requirements, the power. Already, we're dealing with battery backups, but during the hot season, and those ones we have out by Teradyne, which come online and back up the power system, power grid when it gets overloaded. So what are we going to do if we come up with something that needs all of the power we got?
Well, and that was one of Chief Staff's concerns too, is just the existence of those battery banks,
Yeah.
because
The fact that we need those to survive, to take care of our populace, means that we don't have anything extra to give. So when you say, can we prove, that this is really necessary for us? I mean, I think we have what we need, both in water use. We have one of the most stressed rivers in the country, in the Ipswich, so we have no water to give them. We're not going to buy water from Andover to feed a data center, Yeah. So I mean, I do think we have everything we need to meet the criteria my fear is that like that Telecommunications Act thing, they're going to come down and say, well, these are necessary for IAI and for industry to grow, and I don't want to have that.
It could happen in the future that they could be preempted by some federal law. It just hasn't happened yet. So we'll do what we think is right. And then should another law be passed, I mean, we'll just have to work with it.
So we do a moratorium, we just have to vote on it and take it to town meeting.
So it would be a bylaw change either way. So same exact public hearing process, submit it to the warrant, whether it's a temporary moratorium or a bylaw that bans it. I certainly can be working on both.
Say, can we put both forward
I think we could.
and then try and get the ban in place? And if it doesn't work, we can do the more.
Or if we see problems coming from other towns down the road with a full ban, at least we have a moratorium to buy us some more time.
Don't think we could have a town meeting vote to pass two things that were contrary to each other.
Well, one would be if, like, let's say the town folk were like, hey, we're not comfortable with the ban yet.
Mhm.
Ban fails, and then we try the
You
moratorium.
can do that.
Yeah.
I would think this wouldn't be such a. I don't think it's gonna be.
I don't
But-
think and again, I don't know that we should put both of them forward. It's a good idea. That's because the first thing it will do is confuse the people in town.
That's what I'm
They'll
saying.
not know where to go with it. So I think if we're going to do a moratorium, that's what we do. And then during that time, if we want to investigate a ban at that time while the moratorium is in place, I think that would be the way to go about it.
That is pretty much what Shutesbury is doing. They put their moratorium in place. They spent several months researching and working on a bylaw. And then at the end of their process of working on their bylaw, they decided they wanted to pursue a full ban at the time that the moratorium expires. And that's their plan for now. So we could do something similar. I do think it helps us to make a case that we've looked carefully and considered all of the public impacts and have a strong public purpose if we do take some time to make sure. I mean, we may not need a lot of time to make the, I mean, it's
I think probably the order of things is that we look at a moratorium, that we have an expert come in and help us decide, they explain to us what the requirements are and everything, and we build our objection to it off what we learn. So like you just finished saying, we can show that we did our homework and that we're doing this for all the right reasons. So I think that's an important thing. So
And we could put the warrant article for the moratorium on the October town meeting,
Mhm.
and then we don't have to wait till it expires. We could put the
We can
ban
do it in the spring, the spring town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we feel like breathing down our neck, we definitely got
If the
it.
experts come in quick enough and we have the information between fall and next spring, then yeah, we could add it then.
Because we'll
Or
learn.
go the full year if we're still, you know, if some breakthrough technology, some amazing new battery system comes out that, you know, everybody's working on.
Learn of some exemption that we want to put in there, except for this particular type of data center, which has much less of an impact and which might be connected to.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it fits in a bread box, we're okay.
Bigger than a bread box, I will note that.
Yeah, no, yeah,
It
you know. Okay,
sounds like maybe the plan is for me to be working.
okay, what do you, how does everybody think? Moratorium for now?
Moratorium.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
And we can also be working on the ban bylaw really at the same time, just not at the same meeting, but we'll research.
Yeah, but again, no one town meeting. You do not go in there with a confusing, oh, we can do this or this. Well, which one do we vote for?
we kind of saw that with the eminent domain stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy enough to explain a moratorium. Listen, we're putting it on hold while we investigate it. And they're gonna say, good idea. They said, you know, we know you're gonna find that it's bad. We'll find. Then the next time when we come with the ban, they'll know that they voted for the moratorium. We did our homework. We decided it's not good and we're doing a ban. So
And then they'll have an opportunity in between, if we put it on the agenda to come in and speak yea or nay and whatever. I mean,
yeah, we can get somebody to come in and speak to us and then we can hold a public hearing on it and everything. So, yeah. So I think that's not that I don't want to try and both at the same time, Bill, but I do think that.
I like the safer option.
Yeah, you understand that.
I like the idea of being able to get it done a lot faster, but
Yeah.
we'll take the,
So do I, but
Slow and
I
cautious
also know that
Yeah.
slow and steady will win the race here. So let's keep it that way.
Yep.
And they won't be able to come in during the period of.
Yeah.
So it is,
Yeah, during the
it's
moratorium.
temporary ban.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be working on it.
That's what we're gonna do. So
does that require a motion or a vote to, at this point, or is that another meeting later down the road?
Time comes to.
I think we need to have something in our hand to vote on.
For me to submit it to the warrant, then I think we'll take a vote at that point. Unless you want, you certainly can to vote.
And again, there is the fear that if we don't word this correctly, and that's where we're gonna need town council help us, that we could affect other things that we do want, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't know what, I haven't seen I did hear that too from an article that I listened to on radio, and they said, you gotta be careful, but they never did mention what the other, I mean, I think it was like a Verizon thing or something like that could be affected by that. You know, if you eliminate the data center, the definition of it could eliminate Verizon or a Comcast substation or something.
No.
So that,
Oh, the word substation are used in some definitions that some communities have, and I do want to make sure that we're not pulling in anything
yes.
that we don't want to pull in.
So I just wanted to make that point. It's one of the reasons we're gonna do it the way we're gonna do it.
but if we did accidentally pull something in that was not intended to be there, it could always just be like an appeal.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
time limit.
absolutely, yep, this wasn't intended to be blocked. We can move forward with it, right?
Yeah, there's a time element to, I'd rather not create a problem than have to fix one.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's a concern. I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Give you a couple of examples of the kind of thing that could happen, so. Okay, meeting 7:32. We don't need to have any discussion on 245 Elm Street unless you want
No, so the request from Attorney Latham was, so I will just explain what happened. There was an error in the notice where one whole page of the butters were not notified for tonight's hearing. So what they had requested to do was instead to reschedule that hearing, re-notify it, re-advertise it in the paper, redo all of it for July 21st. So they've requested to continue the hearing. So I think we can open it, read the public hearing notice, no presentation, just immediately vote to continue it.
All right. Which later, Brad, is Brad himself doing this?
It's Chris Latham, and he's actually on the call if he's needed, but he had sent a letter to request to continue, and
All right,
That's in our, if you need, I don't know if anyone, if you need the public hearing notice, because I think we do want to open that hearing so that it can be continued.
okay, well, I guess we'll start with the public hearing notice.
I'm sorry.
We're going to start with the public hearing notice, right?
Yeah. I keep looking at you, so you're like.
John goes like
Do
this.
you have it? I don't know. You don't have to read the information for how to log into.
Just this?
Yeah, just the main, it just says the plans are available.
You get really good at this after a while.
All right, someone correct me if I do something wrong.
Yeah.
Do I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Thank you. All right, notice is hereby given the North Reading Community Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on, do I read it like
It's
this?
gonna reach, it's July 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we'll continue it.
All right, we'll hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 7th, 2026 at 7:30 PM in room 14 of the North Reading Town Hall and online on the application of Little Treasure Schoolhouse Incorporated and M Fury LLC for a site plan review for a new daycare center on the property located at 245 Elm Street, North Reading, Massachusetts, map number 62, lot number 54. A copy of this plan is on file in the Community Planning Commission office Monday through Thursday, 8 AM to 4 PM, and Friday, 8 AM to 1 PM, and may also be viewed by visiting the CPC website.
You don't have to go website.
If you're going to read this part, or unless there's someone.
What was that, just the motion to continue?
Yeah.
Yes, you can read the motion.
Okay. I move that the CPC votes to continue the public hearing for the application of 245 Elm Street, Little Treasure Schoolhouse for site plan review to July 21st, 2026 at 7.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show 5 in favor, no opposed. Thank you.
Not get smoother at that.
Well, yeah.
Good.
It'll be just fine. All right. Since we have a competing 730s, which is 72 Main Street, site plan review. This had more to do with responses of the Walmart to the issues brought up in the site. GM2's analysis of the plan, or review of the plan.
Yes, we have a response from the applicant to GM2's peer review for stormwater and then GM2's second peer review. No response yet from the applicant because that was just received recently within the last few days. And the applicant is also still working on a response to the traffic peer review. But Attorney Bailey, I know, is on the call if they would like, I know that they were interested in giving an update for what they have done. Hello.
They stuck in, but you were facing the other way.
Yeah, some of you are here and some of you are. Okay.
All right, is there a part of this you'd like to present? I mean, update us on any part of it, please.
Do I just sit at the table like that? I guess it was.
Well, I can screen
Yeah, the
share if
microphone's
you
on.
would like me to pull up the plans.
And while we can hear you just fine, the microphone goes to the,
Do we have to open that, this part of it now too, or is that part of that original opening?
So
Public hearing.
that was
This is a
already opened back in
continuation.
March, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
because we're into the, where they, the GMP did a review of the plan.
Right.
Came up with a bunch of things, they answered some, there's other review of the plans, they answered their concern, the process of answering.
Okay.
Responding to.
So just for, it was, that public hearing was simply never closed. We're just continued.
Yes, now, because we continued it to a date certain, which was today.
Gotcha.
Wrong share.
I was driving that night.
That's pretty great.
I was in the car driving back from New Jersey.
Don't ever be afraid to ask, because
Okay.
it takes a while to learn everything there. It's- I'm getting it a little bit now, so. The next 30 years will be better.
Okay, I can screen share on Teams also.
Just have the plan up for reference.
Okay, well, I have a couple of questions on the plan name, so.
So Jim Cranston with Bowler Engineering.
Yep.
Also with me tonight is Nadine. She's remote. She was here when we first opened the public meeting.
And then also the representatives from Walmart are also here in case some other things come up. Just wanted to come in and give some updates on where we're at. It's been quite some time. We were first before you back in March. I don't think there were any significant issues at the time. There's some questions and comments, but the biggest thing was really putting it out to peer review with GM2. So we got their comments in mid-May. Continued the hearing, and then we worked through all their comments, resubmitted to them in June, and then just last week we got an updated letter from them. So we're able to whittle through onto the stormwater items. There are some other items to work through with them. We're not done. As Danielle mentioned, the traffic piece, we didn't yet get those resolved, but we're going to be resubmitting likely this Friday. And then we'll try to work with GM2, maybe even offline to get to a better spot. I think the goal would be to then get another meeting set up for you. Wouldn't be this month, obviously.
And the traffic, are they talking inside the parking lot traffic?
No,
Are they talking
there was
about?
maybe one question related to on-site impacts.
Because there's a light there. You're not gonna get in and out anywhere else, are you?
Right, well, there's the two access points.
Three access in front of Brunt.
No, it's the one that belongs
Yeah.
to Brown, and they could actually be using that.
Yep. So yeah, there were no, just as a reminder, we met with the DOT informally months before we filed. Because our client really wanted to understand what was going to be needed here.
Yeah.
And based on the findings and the summary that was provided, they were actually comfortable with the current conceptual design that was prepared by our
Okay,
consultant.
well, my concern was whether or not Brunt had the rights to pass and repass on that, or if those rights are extended to you from the owner of the shopping center.
So not to put him on the spot, but Kevin Vargas is here again with us tonight from RK.
Yeah.
If you want to get into that.
I hate to ask hard questions, but you know what I mean? If a person from Brunt crashes into a person from Walmart in that parking lot, right in that street right there, whose property was it?
So that is its own tax parcel.
It is.
Is that opening is its own tax parcel? And so you clearly must have rights to it then.
Yeah.
Or rights to it must come from your lease.
All the tenants have co-tenancy agreements, and with it being a parcel within a parcel, more or less, and having access to another parcel, it's all cohesive with all the leases.
Okay, so you do in fact have to, they're not gonna signal that. location, no.
Nope. Leave that one out of the.
Okay,
Along those same lines, though, when you met with District 4, were they aware of the way that secondary entrance and exits used at Brunt? Or
Yes,
are they
absolutely.
looking at a light?
That was a major factor as to why we didn't have to provide any exclusive turn lanes at the signal, is because there's a second egress point. It actually helps the project.
right.
So
Well, it helps, it brings the level of service of that other one up. Because you don't have to, because you have a second egress.
Yeah, so I'm just curious because in my experience with MassDOT is they're closing, they're reducing turning areas off on their highways. Highways like these, like 28. And it seems like, again, that throat, that opening to Brunt is massive. And they didn't have any comment on that?
We didn't get that granular. We still have to file an application with them, so that could come up during their formal review.
Because it was
just
usually
more-
one of the first things they say,
Yeah, it could come up.
Okay. What I mean is, when you say you met with them, can you kind of just, what do you mean by meet and what did?
Yep. So it was a virtual meeting. I was prepared to go to their offices, but it was a virtual meeting. Traffic consultant we hired, which is Vanessa, they did their traffic counts, they did their analyses, they came up with
Yeah,
their
that's why.
conclusions, their recommendations. Because to be honest, I told my client before he did that, hey, we might need to add in an exclusive turn lane here. I don't know if we need to widen the road. And lo and behold, the study concluded that we didn't have to do that, and DOT was on board with that. So they were pretty comfortable with
Informally, as far as like you had a meeting, but they haven't done a full
Right. But
review,
we feel-
final analysis.
Yeah. But there was data to support it. It wasn't a guess. It wasn't a shoot from the hip.
Right.
And there was a discussion about the sidewalk. That they wanted to,
Extended.
yeah. And I think the client said that Walmart said they didn't want to do it.
Are you talking on the postal service law?
Is that where it is? Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
yeah.
G2 comment.
Yeah, so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so-
They said that would be something brought to the meeting for discussion.
So we had to pursue the postal service with that request, and I apologize. We do have a letter from them I can provide it to you. I thought it was more backing up the MEPA comment, but we got a letter back from them stating that they weren't interested in adding any additional access for pedestrians, and basically that no one has the need for it at their facility, but I do have a letter from them. And I think the main, I guess in our eyes, and I have a really powerful laser pointer here,
Okay.
but
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, it's right in the hole of the screen.
so as a reminder, we are adding this crosswalk here. There is an existing sidewalk here. So if anybody needed to cross to get to the Walmart site, knowing there's a sidewalk here, I feel like this is probably the safer bet versus crossing here and then trying to get this way. So, this
So
is where I
what-
think they wanted another leg of a crossing.
Yeah, so once they cross and they get onto this property, there's no dedicated walkway that takes them to the front of the store.
So there is a striped area through the southerly portion of the site, that would be used.
That's the one that goes over by like, what is it, Dollar Tree that's right there? So you're basically saying they can connect from the 28 sidewalk. Is there gonna be a walkway that's created from 28 to get through the front space to get to that frontage or no?
Right now, it's just to reuse what was out there.
There is an existing patching from sidewalk on the road all the way past Brun, and it goes through Brun's lot all the way up to the corner edge of the Citizens Bank, and that continues with sidewalk all the way around to Ball.
Yeah, because there isn't one inside, in the parking lot there is a crosswalk that you can pick up from the parking lot to get to the city thing.
Just for the recording, would you mind just saying your name?
Yep, I apologize. Kevin Vargas with RK Centers.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
Can I, sorry,
Go ahead.
do you mind if I ask a slightly different question too?
Sure, go ahead.
It's about the lot itself, and maybe this came up in the last meeting, so I'm just kind of catching up a little bit here, but in terms of what you folks have, can you walk me through maybe two things? One, sort of what's the kind of standard route for delivery trucks versus regular pedestrian vehicles? And then also, I'm assuming you'll probably have like a grocery pickup area, like where are those and what do those two processes look like?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're planning on doing that anyway, you could, I will wait. Okay.
So, happy to go over that.
Okay. What do you think? To get you
Oh, there we go.
Is that page 9?
That's perfect.
This is slide, page, in the plans is the 9th page.
Yeah. Which will attach to everything. Yeah, so that will get you the all the way through.
So, are you familiar with the existing site?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I like
I'll try not to. So the existing site, all the loading occurs over here. So,
for today versus that.
But if you're gonna be bringing groceries, are you gonna bring them all the way through? I think I asked this before. You said, yes, you're gonna bring them all the way through the warehouse. From this side here, all the way across to the other side.
well, I can show you that too. So trucks today, I believe, are coming in at the signal, coming down here.
Yeah.
They're navigating behind, turning around here and then leaving. Or they leave. So they probably have to leave at the signal because it's not like this radius is big enough. So under the new plan, the store, the expansion is everything up here. This is the expansion.
Okay.
So the grocery component's going to be here. And then the dry retail, which is what the store is today, is down here. So this loading dock is going to get reconfigured. It will still function similar to how it does today. Except today it's oriented north-south. Now it's going to be oriented east-west. And then at the north side up here, this is a second loading dock. That is for the grocery operation. Those trucks actually would navigate behind the school. And then they turn around here and then they have to leave back through the back. There's no physical way to get trucks in and out in this fashion.
And if I remember, there wasn't a significant increase in the number of trucks. They'd just be fuller. Because they're already delivering groceries.
Yeah, it's
So
a very,
there's-
very limited grocery component.
Yeah.
That was, that's my understanding.
If I remember the conversation, it was,
Mr. Buchanan was here,
yeah.
or maybe that was from the store.
So
I think it was a part of the traffic conversation was how much more and not a significant increase in the number of trucks.
Right.
Because they're already coming, would just be more pallets in it.
I know that makes sense. Because I mean, there is that grocery there today and you guys have fridges in there. So like I've seen it. So if I'm understanding correctly, so there is the one traffic light on Main Street. So I'm gonna forget for the purposes of this that the Brent egress?
Yeah.
Egress, the right word for that, exists. So they come in through the traffic light and they route kind of down and around through the kind of car parking area to get, it's like behind the Marshalls. Is that where they go? Right? Okay, they know.
Yeah.
They go behind the Marshalls.
Way more than I do.
All right, and so, and I just want to ask that, I'm just keying off of that because I think we just established that they'll sort of be crossing where the primary pedestrian patching is that correct? But we're not expecting more trucks, but we are putting kind of delivery trucks where the walkers.
Yes.
Currently, when they would come down that middle drive aisle, if you had a big white line down that, after the 6 lines entrance and then wrap around that way. The access road behind Walmart doesn't exist, so that's one of the best opportunities here for, ourselves as property owners. Walmart is the tenant, and obviously local fire, police, everything else too. But they would turn there, come back, and then they do cross the crosswalk. You can see it right there, towards the bottom, right where Citizens is. I believe the number that was thrown out last time was 1 additional truck.
Okay, and I just want to ask, like, I don't mean this to be difficult, but again, I wasn't there, so I was just trying to understand why the loading bays, like, wouldn't be at the sort of top of the map, right? Like, where they could just kind of come straight in, go straight back, right? Like, I understand there's like a bit of a cross there, and that's where it looks like you're planning on adding the grocery now, but why wouldn't it be possible or beneficial to put the loading bays there, just for my own knowledge?
All of them at which end, the north end,
Yeah,
up
like
here?
where you're doing the groceries.
Yeah.
Like, is it feasible? Because I mean, I'm also looking at the Google Maps and it looks like it's like right up against trees right there, so. But I am kind of curious if you're planning on doing this kind of expansion. Could you do that just to kind of reduce the potential for any sort of?
So you're looking to put all the docks here?
I'm asking.
No, I-
And one of the things you asked earlier too was, where is the pickup point
Yeah.
for the grocery?
Is that the
Whether
plan?
that's, you're sitting in your car or getting out and, it is where the heavier part is and the student radius is. I believe, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, majority of that, walking around, cars getting out there is over there. So that would be, that's a really good protection to keep people away from there, and having the trucks come through there. Especially if employees are crossing over, I guess, from, head-in cars to that second set, ideally, they would be the ones consistently seeing traffic come through there versus lower in the plaza there.
So operationally, having split docks is definitely way more efficient. So this, the existing store is general merchandise. There's some grocery, but not heavy.
Okay.
So this dock being just general merchandise makes it more efficient for, offloading and restocking.
Yeah.
And then with the grocery component, most of this box is grocery, having grocery goods coming in and out of here. It's just less traffic internal to the store.
Okay.
If there was more room, sometimes they'll do an appendage on the back and have a single dock facing one way. But that would be way more impactful on a site like this. But as Kevin did say, that your last question would do with the pickup, all of the pickup parking is over here. So customers would come in and access here.
But this would be, you say pickup, this would be curbside pickup?
Right, they wouldn't leave their car, they have it, I think they have it today. It's much more limited. You would show up,
The
you
little thingies at
you
the
call
front.
in,
And they've
you
got.
call in and report through the app that you're there, and then the associate brings your stuff to you.
I think,
The load, sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
no,
The loading for the remainder of the tenants in the closet is also on that back, lower left-hand corner. Introducing a deliveries on the other side, yes, would be a second point of delivery. Keeping it consistent to that one side would be more than ideal. And then having the vehicles come back behind the building, turn, and then be able to come back out that way.
yeah,
We keep a really consistent flow to it. There is ample room behind Marshall's. Not that we lease it out to anybody, but there's enough sitting back there all the time.
yeah,
That dark area in the top left corner, that is just the turnaround for the trucks, I assume, right?
I think, I guess just to kind of double click on that question a little bit. Have you guys, I don't know who to look at actually. This is mostly just me curious because I'm kind of keying on to something Warren said about, pedestrian access and things like that. Have there been any studies as to increased foot traffic to the Walmart with the expansion? I mean, it's a residential area, like it's suburban, so I'm expecting mostly drivers, which is in itself enough of a challenge, but I'm just trying to understand, like, have you guys assessed, is there going to be more foot traffic? Is that something that we need to think about more? Or not
We've
really?
never really done a pedestrian study. I'm not aware of it increasing number of foot traffic, pedestrian trips. Not sure the store folks, observe how many people are traveling by foot. I know when I've come out to the site, I looked at the wells across the street and the drainage outfall. I was the only person out on Route 28.
There's a fair amount of people that
It
come
doesn't
from
mean
the
to
south, Jim. It's
What's that?
You have a number of apartments to the south.
Conduct, yeah.
Yeah, and they walk through though behind Wendy's. That's kind of the route.
And they're on the same side of the road, so they're not even using.
Oh,
that
yeah, they're
crosswalk.
all on that
That's-
same side and they kind of cruise through. My daughter's dance at North Reading School of Ballet, so
That's
I'm
right
there all the time. And it's kind of a constant flow of people, but it's pretty safe, route.
There is a possibility of some development further up the street, but we've been pretty good about getting sidewalks on that road. So no matter which side of the street you're on, there's a sidewalk there that will take you to their crosswalk, so. It's pretty well already worked out.
Yeah, through you, just a question, Jim, on the comment on the white versus orange, parking striping, like along.
Yellow, but yeah.
Yeah, yellow.
It's white, yellow.
Along with our.
Not black.
Yeah. With our reviewer, I'm fine, totally cool with that. I was just curious, like, where do you put employees using the yellow, because it's not really kind of called out here. You gotta have them together with
It's on,
customers.
so it's on the other sheets, either
It is
2 and
called out?
C3. It should be called out. I think typically the more remote parking would be the associate.
I'm assuming that, yeah. So that's why I was just curious in general.
Yeah, I don't even know how much is observed. It's a standard of our client.
Corporate. It's kind of better than having signs that say employees park here, people just,
Yeah,
whether you get followed or not.
yeah.
Depends how busy it is, right?
There should be the notation, the type of striping, and then it's called out here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, it was, I think they were just making sure the board was comfortable with it.
The other question related to that somewhat with parking is the back to C1 sheet where you have, is that new switchgear that's going to be near where the EV parking is, the 10 spots? Is that there now? And I've just never noticed that.
No, I can cover that. So, and this was on my notes, but one of the updates we made to the plan, and this was in our.
Zoom in.
Originally, the EV was here. Our client, we decided to move it here. So
Okay.
that was on the last plan set, the transformer and the cabinets for that infrastructure, that would be all new. It is planned in a landscape island here to protect the equipment. And that would be fed from its own independent primary source from the street. It would not be tied to.
So that gear is for just the EV spots, probably with a little bit of extra part of that.
Probably, but yeah.
Because of
that's
just,
for
it's
the-
not a lot of spots really, seems like, because this is a redevelopment, some of the newer ones in a lot of places expect a lot more. EV
Yeah,
parking spots.
I know the Tewksbury store, I live in Tewksbury, they have a bunch out remote and they have their own transformer, but there's probably 4 different pad mount cabinets. I don't even know what it does, but there is, quite a bit of infrastructure needed to support those heavy chargers because I think they're level 2 or level 3 chargers. They're the more rapid ones.
Yeah.
They've changed the series on them multiple different times and the upsized conduits and transformers been a product of that as well. We had a property out in Marlboro where the motherboard went bad in it and the whole unit was basically defunct because it was 1 year old and had to upsize everything. Cost us $180,000. Wonderful. But we did as landlord sign off on that quantity and the transformer is a little bit larger. The power company is the one that actually sizes it.
Level 2, you said?
Yeah, there's different level 1, 2, 3. 1 is like your house.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a mixed bag, but 3 is 80% charge in 20 minutes or something.
Which ones are these ones going to be?
I think they're level 2. So the way this works, if this gets built, the contractor would future-proof and put in the conduit and get everything ready. A separate energy team will come in, pull their own permits, and then actually install the transformer and the wiring, charger.
So future proof, are you talking about increasing pipe size and wire size and all that stuff?
We're not future proofing to add more later. When I say future proof, we're putting it in now so that the energy team can come in right on the heels of this project getting built.
Okay.
It's just a little bit
The structure will be
Yeah,
there.
we're not planning more than what is shown on the plan.
Okay.
Because it would have parking impacts.
Is there still a plan for seasonal?
Yeah, that is not changed. That's what we currently submitted. There's the outdoor seasonal sales out here.
Yep.
And then there was some along the building. We did just get feedback from National Grid. You're aware that there's this massive easement for all the power lines. They took a pretty firm black and white stance. They're not comfortable with having big stuff stored underneath their easement. So we're gonna have to revisit the location with Walmart to see where they want to move it to. Where that is yet, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal, but we will try to resolve that as we work through, getting the comments resolved.
And that's the areas in the notes where it's talking about 6-foot fencing and
Yeah, so that was one of the comments,
Requirements.
we'd asked for a waiver from that, just to put up a fence with a gate in the parking lot. It kind of defeats the purpose of trying to, display what you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And the season purpose of it too.
So,
They'd like to be able to pull in, be able to hear it.
and they have it down to science. They do this at most of their stores. I think we even talked about like how it gets blockaded off. I think someone from the store mentioned how that would work. And I was quoted, they don't put bikes out there like I thought.
I just wanted, and I think Billy, this might be more your area of expertise than mine, but I'm just thinking about proximity to buildings, right? And I think if it's outside, it's less of a deal, but has there been a review? I'm way outside over my skis, I think is what you're supposed to say. But is there a review with utilities regarding like proximity to buildings and things like that? Are they cool with everything?
They are, and they go through a full review and they actually provide a full work request. Documents associated with poles, the calculations of the loading, but we have properties throughout the state that have them right up front, a big Y, stop and shop. That are right where the handicap spots are, and they are shared EV. So I don't know if they particularly, maybe a town or local jurisdiction might have more to say than the energy partner. But we have not seen any pushback as far as that.
Imagine the fire department would also have.
They get their chance to review as well. Yes.
It's coming.
Yeah.
All right, cool, thank you.
All right, that kind of wrap up what you guys have for today.
Yeah, again, just wanted to, get an update on where we're at.
Yeah.
Once we get the traffic resubmitted. We'll coordinate with Danielle, see what the timing is to get GM2's review back and then try to figure out what exact meeting we want to be back for.
Yep.
So obviously we have to pick a date now and then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can further continue it if we need to. Do you have an idea of what date you would like to aim for? Our next meeting would be the 21st, and then after that, August 4th.
Yeah, I mean, 21st, I don't think would be quick enough for GM2 to review, and get back. So, probably the August one at the earliest.
Okay.
You say August?
August 4th is the first meeting of August.
We'll start there and then we'll play it by ear and see how we went.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this come to fruition. It seems like a good plan. You know, the Walmart's like on similar things already and really expanded into the to the grocery thing, into the produce and everything. So
On the traffic front, I think we talked about this briefly, but would you like to have the traffic consultant here? Or maybe we see where the traffic comments go?
yeah, I was just wondering what you know. This when Walmart and when this whole project went in, this was all pretty closely looked at. There were a number of traffic studies done. Initially by Stop and Shop when they were in the building across the street, and then ultimately when Walmart came in. So I don't know what they would, but what they. Is a traffic study going to identify an increase in traffic as a result of the addition to Walmart? I don't know that that's going to be, I mean, that Walmart is pretty busy as it is. It's pretty busy. So I'm not sure how much of an increase you're going to actually get.
So I'm not a traffic consultant. It's a fact that there will be more cars
Yeah.
coming and going, but what they really look at is what happens to the certain level of service of the signal and driveway. Are there added delays?
Yeah, well, I thought I was going, that's why I was asking about the other entrance.
Right, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there are minimal impacts to the level of service and it functioned properly.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering, what the level of service would be once it was under a, you know, under a very busy, Thanksgiving or, where that would be attractive and as well as their stores open Christmas and all that, What's a level, at what level of service would that go to? And how much of it would be going out into the parking lot at Brunt, without.
They actually do look at the distribution percentage of trips, how many would leave, come in and out of the Brunt Drive, and then how many, but that is part of the study.
I think this greatly increase the traffic over there.
What's that?
I think this is gonna greatly increase the traffic over there, out of that part.
Oh,
I think you're gonna steal a lot.
yeah, me too, but that's,
Customers
but because the Brunt parking lot is across the street from the entrance door where the people have to go,
Yeah,
just wondering if they take that into account, whether or not that's a limiting factor in the level, in determining what level of service the light ends up being. And many years ago, I wasn't a big fan of traffic studies. And I've watched over the years how it proved to be right every single time. And if people come in and say, oh, we don't want a light here, this light is no good, I'll never get out of my driveway, only to find out that because of that light, they get in and out easily. So.
I hope he's really allow her to unmute in case she wanted to be unmuted.
It would be. I'm not sure if I could understand more, just.
I wasn't sure.
It's definitely, like, I'm sure you guys are familiar, but it's like a gigantic parking lot, right? And so, I take my son there, we park up at the front. Then it's like, well, we go back to our cars and then there's like 5 cars that cuts through all the spaces. And so I was thinking that is gonna increase. Plus you have pedestrian foot traffic. And people down in the entrance.
That little access road, that little access road that comes around and comes down, that people turn off,
Yeah.
that's not really, that's very narrow. It's narrower than it should be, to be honest with you, because
Because I,
you get two full-size pickup trucks trying to make the turn there, they can't do it. There's not enough room in that roadway for them both to enter that roadway at the same time. So that's that's a very narrow little road right there.
I agree with that, and I think, I mean, it's just kind of what we're saying is sort of similar. I think what I'm curious about too, and this is where I generally have no idea what the like plans are and kind of that, but it would be interesting, and this is my own just kind of thought, but I'd be curious if there were any opportunities to sort of, I don't know, address some of that. Like you guys have some really cool plans, and I think, I'd like to see that move, but I'm curious, is now an opportunity to sort of do something. I saw something in the plans about landscaping, like maybe you can direct the flows using plants. Like, I don't know what the consultant would come up with, or if you had any other thoughts that might increase the value of that space, right? Like for your own other properties, of course, but I'm just thinking, if you can increase the foot traffic and make it more appealing and more safe feeling and more accessible, that could be a really good opportunity to drive up business, quite frankly.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the traffic consultant comes up with. I think that's going to be interesting.
I just wanted to mention, I know Nadine Bailey is on the call. I am not really able to enable her audio, so I was wondering if she wanted to say anything. I know, Matt Cooper, you're on, but Matt, can you, I don't know, I mean, maybe you certainly don't have to say anything, don't want to, but I just wanted to make sure you had the opportunity if you wanted to add anything. Matt, do you know if I can unmute her?
Yes, very much so. Who needs it? Let's see here. Yeah, we can do it. Allow mic. Okay, Nadine's mic should be enabled. She can unmute herself and go to town. If you hadn't unmuted previously, it will say, hey, you okay with being recorded? Just say yes, and we're good to go. You can, I think you can unmute. Let's see, mic's enabled.
Do I need to do it?
She texted me and says she's good with August 4th.
Good.
I don't know.
We'll talk then.
That's it. Okay, we need to take a vote to extend this, or we still on a time frame?
You should, you don't have to extend the deadline, but you just need to continue the hearing to August 4th. Yes.
Sure.
And I think we should say 7:30.
Okay. Good.
So just some advice from having done it. I would go in and handwrite over the July 21st, the new date, August 4th,
Oh,
because otherwise you'll just start reading what's on there.
Thank you, John.
John,
no.
not like me and you.
Clerks, that's the next level stuff.
Well, it's a little piece of information. That's good.
Can I move?
Yes. please.
Yes, thank you. Okay. I move that the CPC vote to continue the public hearing for the application of 72 Main Street, the Walmart expansion, for site plan review to August 4th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m.
I second it.
A motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, let the record show 5 in favor, no opposed. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
As we work our way through this, the
Thanks,
more
Scott.
information we have, the easier it gets to that.
That's the goal.
Together.
Yeah.
But you look at it every day, do it twice a month.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's all safe. I hope so.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do you have any ZBAs?
Um,
No, I looked at a packet of it, that there's a lot of
There's a lot of them. Yeah, you get your first chickens things here. That's I saw a chicken.
Yeah.
It's a big one too, I think.
Oh,
I
no.
think, I'm wrong, but it's a big property, I should say.
Oh, no. I've been waiting for the chicken.
Yeah, chickens like. For the mother hen.
I'll take it.
All right, first I got a 62 Lowell Road, special permit for chickens.
Yeah, well, that's it. 62.
Now, I think this is one that's been going on, I guess it's a continued hearing on the Board of Appeals, am I correct with that, Danielle?
For a while, we've been out of sync with,
No, I think they've been looked at, so this is just a continuation of this for them,
okay.
so, generally with these, there's a lot of neighbors and no roosters. O'clock in the morning, wake up call.
So they show kind of their, their roofs
Yeah,
there.
Look at that.
Kind of cool. Usually people don't. but-
I'm literally reviewing a hen house.
So the shed here.
So no roosters is the plan, and then
Consider impacts to neighbors, I can add in the
Yeah,
comments.
neighbors and, I mean, I believe that we don't really need to get too far into it because the Board of Appeals has done plenty of chickens.
Yeah, I know.
And so they have a format that they will follow.
That's awesome.
did we get emails or anything there?
Oh, just got some pictures and stuff, It's a big piece of property, like Dave said.
Was it directly?
Up to 12 chickens. Yeah, I was gonna say, they like eggs.
It's like, butter or something,
Number of questions about how many, location of the chicken food, how they'll manage waste, will there be rodents and predators affected?
It will. But you gotta button that down.
Well, this has,
Right with Reading, it's like they're everywhere.
this has like the stairs the chickens you walk and then you close it up.
Yeah, well, at night they go in and these boxes and they're up.
Yeah. Weasels. They went with a big bird.
That's fine, but get
So do we have any further comments on it other than that, or are we good with that?
Good.
Okay,
This one is,
22 Wright Street. Wright Street.
is this a continuation or,
Oh, that other one was, the chicken one is a continuation.
no, this one's weird.
Actually, it's for July 9.
We've had this before, 22 Wright Street.
Oh, yeah, it says an expired variance.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They gave it to him and again, this is, I don't see any change in re-upping it, but it was crazy though. It's like 5 feet from the property and these are small lots and there's like to even construct this addition, it's huge. Like you need to be on the other person's property just to construct the thing.
what is the addition?
It's a 2-car garage and a master bedroom above it.
Oh, I remember this. now.
Yeah, but it's
huge.
like, it's huge.
Yeah,
And then, but
We're still
again,
going to the Board of Appeals meetings at that time.
yeah, I haven't.
That's why you remember it.
Yeah, because I am still liaison, but I was at that meeting,
Right.
attended because they did everything in, I guess,
Yeah,
still
I
do.
remember
They're not
looking
in
at it.
person yet, right? So
I remember looking at that.
like, you need to like be on your neighbor's property just to like
Just to
maintain,
dig the foundation.
well, just to if you wanted to paint it or
Yeah.
or roofing company wanted it or siding, like,
And the ladder's gonna be over
it's just,
the other
it's
property.
just a weird precedent, like when you could just bring it back a tiny bit.
Well, we don't get,
That's what we
we
said.
don't get to say, we just get to opine.
But they, I think they ultimately gave it to them, so we, not much we can
Yeah.
do here, so.
So what-
They're the ZBA.
Why is it, I thought that they, the other thing.
Because the
It
variance
expired.
expires.
So that's all it is. So that's why I don't think, there's not much to comment on.
Isn't it built already?
No, that suggests it's not, like they didn't pull the trigger on it.
So they wanna go back and get the, re-up their variance so they can do it.
Yeah, see, it's 2.5 feet is what they left.
Yeah,
It's
that's not even enough to put the forms in for the bond.
What do you mean? It's not even enough room as a, if you have a fence, like a person, that's 2.5 barely, you know.
20-foot ladder is gonna take
I mean,
5
I'm just saying,
off
this is
the
not,
house.
this is not the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just weird, but
They gave it to them, we can't.
that's
accept.
their deal. It's their.
All right, so you wanna no comment then? Want to say no comment on that?
I guess so, yeah. We could say still questioning the 2.5 feet side yard. No,
I do question the tiny amount of room left over in the property line. You know,
I mean, not that, in the,
I would.
Yeah, so the idea behind the variance is that the Board of Appeals here is to, if there's a hardship, basically. But like we've always wondered on this board, always wondered, if you create the hardship, is it still a hardship? You know,
legally, it's for purposes of issuance of a variance, if you.
right.
so if you create the hardship, it's not a hardship.
Well, the hardship comes if you have a lot that is particular to the zoning district, has a unique quality, whether it's condition of the soil or configuration of the property or slope or something like that,
Right.
that makes your lot unique so that you can't follow the normal zoning for everybody else in the district. So that's
Right.
really what it's supposed to be. Variances are given for less than that, but that's supposed to be a hardship, and that's supposed to be financial. It's supposed to
And
be.
that's unfortunately, because I remember the meeting, that's how the owner presented it. If you guys don't give me this variance, I'm gonna have to leave town, you know. Kind of like gave the board an ultimatum, you know.
If he can.
Is it uninhabitable without
Well, he
usage?
needs to expand, you know, his family's bigger, and I get that, I respect that, but it's kind of like, I didn't love the way it was.
Presented.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just
It's
attending the
your, it's
meeting.
your fault if I.
Yeah, you know, I just thought that wasn't fair to the ZBA. It's
I was
like,
just hoping you hadn't voted for it.
yeah.
That's-
Yeah, but. What's to say?
All right, well, what do you want to do with it then?
So I think it's good to make that comment, like, are you sure 2.5 feet is sufficient
That's not enough room to set up a ladder.
for the hard structures?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like we're in agreement, Danielle.
Oh, I don't just have an opinion.
EPA gets enough to fight it right now
We're
because
complaining about
have to renew, right? So it's, they could go say, hey, we gotta make this 5.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, the question.
yeah.
I will, yeah,
Okay.
is questioning whether a 2.5 foot side yard setback is sufficient.
Yeah, it's,
And I would
it's
say-
reasonable.
But also just in precedence, like every time the ZBA makes a decision like this, it can.
The next time it'll be 2 feet.
Right, well, it just can point adversely when there's no real hardship, because at least they can really point to a hardship. The ones that you even mentioned are really is a solid way to put it, like couldn't put it there, couldn't put it there, but here it's just the house is in the middle of the lot. And they gotta go to either side, but what they want to build is bigger than their house. So, so they build it and it goes up to the lot line and that's like somebody else's fault. It's the hardship on them. I'm just having a hard time with that. And so what they do by allowing it now is it sets a precedent for all other applicants. And they'll be fair, they'll be correct in saying you did it for them, right? And that's the snowball you don't want to create. You know, and I look at it with decisions we make too, like we allow something that then people line up behind and say, we want to do what they did, and then it can come back and bite us, so.
I've always wondered too, so what happens when you've only got 2.5 feet of space? clearly gonna need access to the neighbor's property in
Well,
order
in this
for the builders to be able
particular
to do
They
the
go
thing.
around the other side.
Yeah, they have room, they have 60, it says 16 foot, like, access on the other side, so they can get around, like if they need a.
How are you gonna slide that
Yeah,
wall?
Yeah,
I set up staging ladders, you're gonna need
Yeah,
access to the neighbor's property. And what if the neighbor says no?
You hang on,
Well, I
to
think-
the upside down,
when
and
they
work your way down.
yeah, and I think they had permission from the neighbor, but it's just that that neighbor could move, and then you
Yeah.
have a different person, they're like, what? But I guess they're buying knowing that condition,
Yeah.
so.
But in theory, let's pretend
Yeah.
the neighbor said, you don't have access to my property, no. Like, how can you build a house that close to the property line?
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have-
That's the whole point, we have zoning
Then a one car or
setbacks,
two
it
cars.
really is. And then, so every time they violate that variance and let it go closer and closer, it can be a nuisance, of course, to the butter, but it also just creates these legal problems and these problems.
Yeah.
That whole point of setbacks is for that point,
Is that a one car or a two car garage?
Shuka,
Looks like they should be building a one car.
yeah, or they could do a double door.
Are
That's
they,
just-
One big door and.
Yeah, that's what I mean, a
Yeah.
double door, right? Like a
Yeah.
double.
a little redesign,
So you're kind of getting in there. You don't have that separation, the
as long as they.
partition between the two single.
That
doors.
extra 2.5 feet that's usually right there in the
Get you
middle.
to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to figure it out for them anyways, but.
Yeah.
I guess we should do.
I think we made our point, the point that we think that 2.5 is ridiculous and they should be allowing a little more room out of respect for the neighbor or whatever.
Yeah, and again, I would add precedent if you're okay with it, Mr. Chairman, I'm concerned about precedent.
No, that's okay. We've done that before.
Yeah.
And got the same response. Okay, 5 Shea Lane, home occupation special permit for a home bakery.
I know where I'm going. Going to Shea Lane. They're knocking on the door. They need chocolate chip cookies.
We have had somebody do this before.
Goes through the Board of Health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all, it really comes down to Board of Health, right? Maybe Jerry, just like safety, if they're, needs vent, it depends kind of baking, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
they have the site plan that the Board of Health has to approve for the inside. They have, all the code stuff,
Yeah.
the building, and then they still have to follow the home occupation, bylaw, which is only a
Is
certain.
this one when they're gonna sell it online or something?
I mean, it's not gonna be a sort of house. That's
Can they open this up? No.
residential kitchen. That's a permit from the phone. That's all. It doesn't mention customers, but part of the home occupation bylaw is that customers don't come to the premises.
So, 223 Havel Street. Well, we also have the shit, what do we want to do with that Shea Lane?
Instagram what's the name.
Yeah, that's cool.
The breads, like,
Breads.
look at that.
Little breads. So that's,
How do you get that rise?
I know it.
Stop by now.
Confuse
So
me.
it's
You get it by buying.
Friends, sourdough, that's how you get the
You have to really,
yeast.
yeah.
It's less mixing it, right? That's key, so it doesn't get too dense. You don't want it to get dense.
So we're just gonna say Board of Health and that's it?
So each occupations, we say, that we don't object as long as they adhere to the home occupation bylaw
Yeah,
and all Board of Health regs, I guess.
yeah, okay, that'll do that. Okay, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
All right.
Take away.
223 Havel Street, variance for an ADU.
So this one, right off the bat, like, if you look at what they're trying to build, so first off, this came in front of us because we needed to grant the okay to use only the existing 50-foot driveway, or it's not a 50-foot driveway, but 50-foot access to get into 2 lots, which isn't typically allowed. But it was a big parcel in the back there and it, so right now, both houses are pretty much done right now, or at least one's definitely all done and the other one is in the midst of being constructed. So for context, it's like they already came, we just need 2 houses. Now they come, and I'd be cool like with an ADU, but it's 35 by 50 and it says barn on it. So it's like, okay, is it an ADU or a barn? And if we have a max of 900, like, so where is that? Is it just somehow fitting inside the barn on the second floor? Like, do they give you a plan or anything?
Plan, it's page 47. I thought the ADU in question was the other structure. So the barn is labeled and then there's on the other.
So it's not the barn, it's not the ADU, because I was gonna say that is a big ADU.
This says,
So proposed barn over here,
And then the ADUs above it.
No, I
Right.
mean,
24 by 37.
How did you open it?
oh, I see it now,
It's just keep scrolling down.
so they go,
It's 90, this document's 90 pages long.
okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
now I'm
Page
seeing,
47.
I thought it was the barn, I'm like, that is a huge, that's a house, 36 by 50.
Yeah, there's a barn and then the ADU's part of, with an attached garage in a separate part of the property there.
Wait, is this? I mean, I'm just looking up on Google. It's state stone masonry? Is that the?
Well, no, it's right, if you look at it, it
That's-
goes right by, here's
right.
State Stone.
Oh, it's right.
They're
there.
right on, Elm, Havel, sorry, and then it goes, there's that new access that we rented. And it goes back to 2 lots. The only thing is, it's like, they're not showing the other parcel's house being built there or anything, Danielle,
Wait,
yeah, it's just the one house they show.
Yeah, so it's kind of gives you an inaccurate, like, they're looking for 5 feet from the
5
lot line,
feet.
and yet there is a house and a person that might want to do a similar kind of thing. So again, lot line, these setbacks are for a reason,
What they get is 10 feet by the zoning, but they're asking for 5 and why can't they?
Well, yeah, just move it back a little bit or whatever. I just don't see the reason, like the hardship with that giant lot.
well, can I ask, where is this stone?
Don't, right here. Right there is that
Is it
stone.
Franco?
Yeah, which has nothing to do with this permit,
Oh,
or,
no, I'm here. So
Oh.
it's definitely Simone Franco, that lot, map 44, parcel 44 is the stone one?
yes, but
So
again,
it's-
just here, that's just their property. They don't have anything to do with this
Okay.
application or.
Because that's why I was curious, because I don't know this, I don't see the state stone on that sheet, so that's why I'm kind of curious. But if you're saying it's definitely not the same.
Yeah, it's not them.
Okay,
It's not them.
because I'm like, well, maybe they want it for.
This, you can see that in the aerial too. You'll see it's kind of a dirt road, or if you drive by it, it's a dirt road that goes back. And again, the house they're showing has been constructed. I don't think I've noticed the barn, so maybe that's in a new building permit or whatever. But also, so Jerry's gonna, obviously, he's the ultimate person looking at this when the plans come in to ensure that it's not no over 900 square feet, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only variance they're asking for is from side setback, not from size, because they have to meet the size restriction too.
I don't know if they can move it because is that an existing deck structure that like kind of L shape?
So nothing's existing. It's all brand. If you go back there, it's like they clear cut and it's a brand new, nice house, beautiful new house.
So that deck would be new construction as part of this.
I guess so. And Jack says, are not included in the square foot calculations, decks and porches, fireplaces, that kind of chimneys. But it's still is 24 by 37, is that over 900?
I was just taking out my.
Yeah,
I don't see why he needs a variance at all.
No, I
He's
think
got
it's
the
under,
room.
is that just under?
I mean, is the
Nice.
concern, given the 10 feet, making it too close to existing dwelling for them?
I don't know why they need it.
I mean, move it further north and then out 5 more feet.
I 100% agree. I don't understand the hardship of that.
You'd be looking to not have to file with the Conservation Commission, but that's like a 5 foot. Lost.
Yeah.
This is a dirt road right here, Steve.
Is there,
Yeah.
Is there somewhere in here that says why they're asking for it?
Yeah, you're right there at Stone State, and then the next lot, that's you. Yeah, Warren's on the other side.
Oh,
So he has to
safety issue.
remove himself and be like, oh, no, just kidding.
You scroll up to page,
Well,
Oh,
at least I'm pleased to find out. it wasn't
44.
Warren. I thought this.
Yeah, there's a reason given.
David, if you scroll up to page 44, it tells you that the reason for the request is
It's a safety issue.
But isn't it two houses back there, or is one of them a house and one being?
Safety issue.
I'm kidding. I don't know where the driveway is. So
Huh?
I don't,
Didn't, was there two houses back here, or?
Maybe I missed
it.
which
There's only one house, but
that's
I don't see a second house.
It's just not in there yet,
Access
but
and utility.
because they're filing only for them, their lot, they're not this applicant. You know,
Oh, okay, so.
that's why they're not showing a house there, but they technically should be showing a house there
Yeah, because.
for context, I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
So that would be my comment is obviously neighbors and that kind of thing, but like, what's the hardship is a question mark. And then secondly, you know, the new lot that was presented to us, you know, as two house lots. Supposed to be tons of room and everything. Now you're needing to squeeze right up to the property line.
Hmm. How many people should say
Yeah,
down there toward the barn? How far is it out the lot line?
15, it shows the barn.
It's not very clear, I couldn't see, I can't see it.
Yeah, it might be wrong, but it does not say 15 guys.
No, it looks like 15, okay, I blew it up.
Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see that.
Yeah,
what's 15? Sorry,
Barn,
15 feet off the lot line.
I lost the whole thing.
That mean you gotta do horses?
I'm curious.
Oh, this person, I could ride a horse.
Say there is.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I lived in Kansas for 4 years.
It took me, I had to die to put the area code in to find it, but it's
I had a
there.
bird ranch and I used to go help keep all the horses broke
Did you really?
during the off season, yeah.
Oh my
It's right, it's right, it's the state stone masonry. The Google map doesn't really, it's not a time of year you can see the property.
Over, is it 225? Is that what the next one is?
It'd have to be 221, 223, 225.
Oh, yeah, because 37 is the next one, so they must
Yeah.
have taken 225. That's what.
Does 225 share the driveway with 223?
Yeah, they do, and so
Okay.
that's why, again, I'm pretty sure they started construction on that house, I just don't know.
So with an ADU, we're talking about a third residence kind of on this one driveway?
Yes, that's true too, but in our whole, you know, in granting this was to, you know, to allow them to bifurcate the lot, you know, there was just one house on it. It makes sense, you know, it's a huge lot.
Yeah.
And then they would have had to, you know, essentially the lot goes, see the wetlands in the front off Haverhill?
This is the one right.
They would have to do like a wetland crossing and that'd just be like really a waste of the resource and money and
This
everything
one
like that.
went
So,
to the grand barbecue.
so I'm not like, you know, an ADU is like, there's plenty of access.
Oh, really?
Danielle, right? You know, it's not like adding
The fire department.
an ADU to the.
Oh, that was
50
the,
It's zero
Okay.
significance, so it's not,
Yeah, look at the.
I have no issue with
Come
that.
this way, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Petitioner, right, the owner name is Michaela June Realty Trust. It's like a,
Yeah, so.
Trustees.
You know,
can you speak to that? Do you have any background on sort of who they are? Because that might,
well, it's a lot of people just put their homes and properties, whether homestead or into estate trusts and stuff.
Yeah.
That means it's probably owned by a family. And it could be the family that had this big parcel, because this could be their first thing they did is they sold.
Isn't Mike Trapacini an attorney?
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
So is it, his name is the, yeah,
Clancy.
but is he also the owner?
I don't know. It looks like he's a trustee. Him and, yeah, him and both of them are trustees of
Yeah. And like they separated this lot, they created like an LLC
Yeah.
probably from it.
Like, I'm generally, probably for better or worse, I'm generally okay if people want to do things, it's, but I'm just kind of curious what their reasoning would be,
So they're just maximizing the land. It's very typical,
right?
Yeah,
very typical.
I'm all for it. Again, max on, that's what the setbacks are for though. Like, figure it out.
I would almost ask them to explain further what those safety hazards with the driveway would be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm generally against common driveways.
Hmm.
Because I've seen them cause a problem before in town here. There was one that the Board of Appeals gave a common driveway to, probably, I don't know, it's gotta be 15, 20 years ago. And then the two people that did it were fine. And they didn't do any like HOA or anything, they just kind of got along. So if he didn't plow the driveway, he did it. They just did it. Then both houses eventually sold. And then one day there was a truck parked across one drive and won't let the other guy into his house and it got to be a huge legal fight. So I mean, it's that.
Yeah, you have to have a maintenance agreement for
Yeah. That's
even if it's just two people. I'm sure that's what these guys will do if they're split.
Yeah, I'd just be curious.
Didn't blow a fuse back.
Yeah, I came back.
It's bad.
You're right.
Don't touch that plug again.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd just be curious, kind of the general reasoning and sort of whatnot, but I don't.
It's nothing more than maximizing the property. This guy, the attorneys there, they said, well, we can all make some money here. Get this property, we'll split it up.
Yeah. But then it's sort of like, well, is that the right thing to?
Well, we let them have the driveway.
Yeah.
We let them have the common driveway against my better wishes, but,
But I mean, they put this house in here, they had more than enough room all the way around this house. You can see the setbacks, they're, setbacks are like half these numbers. So why, and it's brand new.
so why?
So why didn't you just put your house a little in the plan here to the right? Instead of, and if you didn't want it.
You know why? Because I bet this is gonna be a guest house.
No, I get that, but like, it's called master planning. You had enough forethought to this whole development and the 50-foot axis and all this, and now you gotta, oops.
It doesn't appear.
That's not what this is. This is the main house. This is gonna be like a guest house. And it's purposely far enough away so that if anything that happens, it doesn't impact.
I get that, but wouldn't you?
I
just
see
move the
exactly.
house? Wouldn't you have just, if you knew you were gonna do that, just move
No.
over everything?
I just want this nice big yard all the way around it.
It's like, there's no hardship there.
There is no
That's why I'm
hardship
saying
there.
there's no
What there is there's a lot of money available right there.
Yeah.
And they're just doing the
They just,
whole thing.
yeah.
I don't know, if they do put horses in here, I don't know where they're gonna pasture them, I don't see a,
Is there?
I don't see a
Is it,
place
I mean,
to
are we just
pasture.
implying that there's horses because of the barn or?
We're hoping.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a barn, it's a wood shop, it could be.
The modern
I mean,
horse,
it's
that's
not really
the
always-
Chevy.
Not a horse barn, I understand.
I don't see the
And I
need.
think barn,
I don't see the need based on what they provided for.
Yeah, you're, I think American Pickers, a place to shove all your
yeah.
cars, with low mileage and store them for 50 years, so somebody can find them later.
It sounds like.
Your AMC
Right.
car, your
Yeah.
Pacer. and
That's right.
Your
I
Gremlin.
found a 61 Ford Falcon Ranchero in a barn.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was black, when I got outside and washed it, it was white.
Can you tell from this if that's wetlands behind there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, but they're.
That might be where they gotta graze the horses, so.
No.
For the horse.
Oh, another special.
All right, so let's wrap this up. What do we want to say here?
Provide more information. Yeah, I would ask for more information towards the driveway.
Just want to be obstinate about it, you can just give them one word. And you can just capital letters,
No.
on a chip.
Also, brand new house, like
Or a new house.
brand new lot, brand new house, brand new 50-foot, right, shared right of access, like. What am I missing here? You know?
I would just say I'm generally supportive if someone wants to make something nice, right? Like, I would just put that out there. Like, I'm not personally opposed to someone doing
Yeah,
something.
But
I'm
in
just
this
curious.
case, you making something nicer for you is taking
Yes,
away from
yeah.
that, you know,
And that's,
on the butters.
would be good to understand, because I'm looking at I'm also looking at the Google piece and it's like wilderness.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm like, maybe if you just put it somewhere different.
I don't know, I can see it from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ask for clarification on why they can't move why they need it. How the driveway is gonna affect that.
Cause you can see they're gonna.
Is it
I think they strive, what?
What my question is where they're placing the ADU, if they move it 5 feet over, is there gonna be a safety hazard for the new driveway they wanna put in to get to the?
Maybe, yeah, because that common thing, Bill, that's kind of and they haven't paved it yet, but that's the road, is where
Yeah.
you see that like 50-foot wide. thing
All the way back.
But if you take the house that's shown that just got built, and again, it's probably still being finished on the interior, but the exterior looks pretty well done. And just drop it in there, like, they need some space too. When they put that in, whoever, again, I would imagine it's them that will build it. And then they'll be coming again to the ZBA to throw in another ADU on that lot, Now it starts to get like, okay, we've created a street here, for this, for dwellings,
Saving room for the next.
Yeah, well, that's just it, they'll want to move the next one
That's,
up
if
close.
those, if
to another
those
line.
representations are accurate, that's a damn big ADU.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing
The porch all the way around.
they're doing the car, so the porch isn't included in the calculations, and they have a garage here. But it does say they're giving the dimensions of it, but that doesn't kind of make sense with the jog on so I kind of question how they're doing it, but maybe the ADU itself, what they're pointing to with the call out tag is 24 by 37. And that means, and that would make sense that the garage jogs in, because the garage wouldn't be
37.
Yeah, it would be 37, right, wide, so, it's more like 24 probably, or.
Yeah.
24 by 24, something like that.
Or 28 was enough one to get in.
Yeah, it's more than. So it's a double car garage, an ADU in the back. And a deck.
And probably garage probably enters from this side, and it is probably 28, not 24.
That's a property. Still have go with a different.
Yeah, well, you could do that with this ADU bylaw. This is where it bites you. You have no choice. You can't say no to the ADU.
Yeah, they're by
Say no to a
right.
variance.
Hmm?
You can say no to a variance.
You can say no to the setback part, that's all. And that's what I think we're trying to say here is you should maintain at least a very small setbacks that we've got suckered into with, it should have been no more than the existing setbacks, but because we had, again, I don't believe in KP's definition of this, but since we had on it in our zoning bylaws, a accessory structure, they somehow extrapolated or made the jump that an ADU, which is a dwelling, is the same as a barn or a shed or whatever, which is really quite a jump.
Well, not always the attorney general's office.
Yeah, but I just think that's like, so for instance, I'm designing a house in West Tisbury. And I could send you their zoning, it says, or no less than the dwelling. So what got us is we had an accessory.
We have different accessory dimensions.
Well, we had an accessory, like I guess they didn't have one, So you weren't able to, they just, I think they had it was literally just black and white, it was a shed, definition, and then they had setbacks for a shed, so you could make that jump that a shed is an ADU. But anyways, I was not happy with us doing that, because again, I think of the neighbor next door, it's not like the person that's building the ADU, I'm thinking of the other side of the lot line too, like, would you want, and that's big, if you look at that, when I talked about the 50 by 36 barn, The call out that we're seeing is just the ADU structure.
Right.
Attached to it is a big garage. So that structure is going to read, and you can just see by looking to the south, it's as big as a house, a big house.
Yeah.
And you're just throwing that right next to the lot line. And that's what I wanted to avoid when we drafted our draft, is just like, we need to maintain setbacks. But we were overruled by the state. They made it as small as 10, which is a shed. So shed and then, a house.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
But this isn't, the
It's ATV.
8 feet is raising. It's 8 feet? Yeah, it says 8 feet.
It's a V. That. Yeah, it's weird. You're right. It kind of looks like 8, but it's on the application, it's 5.
I think at the narrowest, the smallest point of the setback is probably 5, and then it goes back out to 8 a little bit when the property line.
So it's 8 right there.
I see many.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right.
But
The 8 call out must be near the front, even though they have the lines in the middle there, but sense. There's only one continuous lot line until that break and that turn at the garage.
right,
So if it's 5, then that's the 5, and the 8 would be at the front of the garage.
mhm,
If their dimension line is right,
yeah,
it's before the break, the
Yeah.
turn. Makes no sense.
pretty minor turn.
They didn't put the 5 on the plan. It'd be
Right.
helpful if they had. Unless that 8 is really a 5.
It's gotta be,
I think it is really fine.
because it's north of the turn, so I
Yeah.
can see how it's the turn.
It's just not very-
Well, I guess we're gonna move on with this.
Yeah, we go.
Comments, I'll just review, consider impacts to neighbors, define the hardship, explain how the driveway placement is an issue, and this is a very close setback to the property line. That accurate form.
Yeah.
The safety issue part of it is.
You got a sense of what happened here?
Yeah.
What happened?
They have a 7-foot fence. 7 is the minimum that's required. I'm sorry, it's the maximum you can have before you start needing a variance.
But 8 feet is probably 5 feet.
Additional, like a fabric type, and so the building inspector said that's additional height that's not allowed without a variance, and their argument is that that's not really a fence, it's fabric. So what they're actually asking for is an appeal. Okay, so this is actually a special permit, not a fence.
Yeah.
Not a variance. It's a special permit to allow this fabric to be placed on top of the 7-foot fence, where 7 feet is normally the maximum height.
I get that, but like, did you read?
Did you look at over?
It's to stop
Yeah.
things being thrown at them, like, what is going
I'll
on
tell you
here?
what's happening here. There's a piece of land between 2 properties that goes down to the river.
Oh, is this?
Wait,
This
this is the rental name.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is what we just took town meeting, we just. Oh,
Well, this particular fence is located on, not the park, but on the private property.
This is 2 neighbors
Yes,
going at it.
This is the.
Supposedly, one of them is getting.
this is Hatfield and McCoy.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
And how does the fabric
Yeah.
protect?
So.
because they're
who's-
having.
Just for
rock going at
context,
the house breaking.
who is,
The Hatfields.
I thank you. The people that are getting
With the
kind of
fabric,
stuff from,
privacy.
is that the protagonists in this, or is
My
that?
opinion is what they were.
It's neither one. Yeah.
The whole neighborhood used to use that. I know people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it the person that's preventing them to
Yeah.
use the access?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's why I said protagonist, right? Is it?
Antagonist?
Oh, sorry, right. But that makes kind of sense, but that's awful that that's
But,
happening. But
yeah, it isn't.
yeah, wow.
But yeah, so this is located fully on the private property though,
Right.
not in the parcel that is in question.
Like that shouldn't even be necessary.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
And it says Haight has no home here. Just said an apartment.
Well,
That's awful. Yeah.
Which part?
Who heads to prevail here,
I mean, to be honest,
because it's not just one neighbor, actually. Sounds like based on what we heard, there's like multiple, or we heard it in the town meeting, it's not like one person going after this woman, right?
I don't know. I don't really know what the story. Well, I mean, I know.
That's what I
mean, there's no
thought.
excuse for it.
It's
I
a
know the
whole
whole
neighborhood
story.
that is
I
not
don't
happy with
necessarily
this.
understand
Yeah,
it.
that kind of, what you got out of the town meeting?
Yeah.
It's not like,
That the person got up to speak
right,
and got zero support.
you got zero, because, so, yeah, so it's.
Yeah. It was,
But whoever's doing it of those neighbors is going over the line,
Yeah.
yeah.
without a doubt. It's not how you resolve stuff.
Yes.
So I mean, so let's go back to the question at hand. Do we care about the fabric?
I personally don't.
I do, in the sense that that's not how we solve, that's how not, this should not be solved with a screen. Like, you shouldn't have like, we're gonna, like, pucks keep coming into the stands, so we're gonna put nets up around the rink. This is not that kind of situation. You shouldn't have to put a net around your house to prevent projectiles. Like, this should be a police matter almost. Like, I don't.
I mean, how is it now? They talk about a knife being wielded in
That's what I'm
there
saying,
from a
but I
non-resident?
don't
Like,
think we should be like approving.
And then they're talking about
I'm-
the net, like preventing snow from being thrown onto their property. So that's not gonna.
Yeah, I just think, I don't think this is the right solution.
Right.
You know, that like, we just build a bigger wall, so we have a fort now around our house. That's terrible. Should be not what we're advocating here.
I mean, do we have any ability to?
It's a civil thing too, so it's like, we're like, but all I'm saying is like, us allowing, and it's not us, but CB, us, you know, the town allowing them to build a bigger fence structure is just, we're now party to this ridiculousness.
I think the thing to do is to put aside whatever we may know
Yeah.
about the personalities or the dispute.
Good
And
point.
just think
Yeah.
of this, how would we treat any property that might come in that wants to put something like this up? Is that appropriate for a neighborhood or not? Do we have an opinion about it? Is that okay for fence
That's-
height? Do we think that's a fence? I mean,
I mean, let's say they want to do it because the sun comes up and it beats their house. We'd say, sure, put something up to block the sun from burning your house or from overheating your house. So in other words, that we're taking the personalities right out of it, just like you were saying, as just a mechanical thing.
Is
Well, we do-
that enough to warrant?
I mean, again,
Because then everybody's gonna apply for it because they want more shade.
we'd also be like, okay, well, what do your neighbors say aesthetically?
Yeah.
We,
And the neighbor's
it's
response
hard to,
is
with rocks and knives and things, I mean.
Right, and then you have to come back for a higher one.
I know what the story is behind the knife because our office has been getting calls about this
Okay.
for 2 years and I have to put all of that aside.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not-
no, I mean,
it's
it,
not the way it's captured.
Danielle's got it right.
Okay.
So then and I agree 100% with that approach, but I would say still, like, it's not fair to the neighbors aesthetically to have this giant screen around a property, any property. It's just not attractive, you know?
Mhm.
So,
It draws the question, what are they doing behind that?
well, you know, it's more just like,
Well, that's their
why you
business. I
have
mean,
the
I'm not-
fence. That's why you kind of have the fence max, you know?
Right.
Again, we're talking setbacks, now we're talking fences, like, there's a reason why you can't build 12-foot fences without some sort of a variance or whatever.
It's a spike fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I mean, okay, so I would just kind of ask. I know we want to set a lot of this aside, but the material is here. It's been submitted as a part of it. And so my
That's true.
question is, do we have any information related to the harassment prevention order or the restraining order?
We
That
do,
doesn't-
and actually we know that some of that is not in place.
Do we know what is real? And I don't want to litigate
No,
that.
we can't,
We have to rely.
we have guardrails about what we can do and you're outside the guardrails here.
yeah, like ZBA can maybe.
If we make a decision based on all the information that they provided with the harassment and everything,
Yeah,
and they could appeal it, and then we can't use that information as part of it. We have to have a bylaw to fall back on for our information.
I agree. They can submit a lot of information and some of that may not be relevant to the consideration of the application. Like if this board got an application for, say, the Amber Road development and say the engineer, John Bovard, came in and said, I've got 3 kids and I really, really need this approved because we need the money, and we considered that in the approval of that project, that wouldn't be appropriate, even if you said it or submitted it. I think that we just have to look at the facts of what's, what is being asked for. There are definitely things in this application that I know to not be true. And so I don't really think that considering anything outside of the request for the variance for fence height is going to be necessarily appropriate to this application. I mean, that in my opinion, that's how I.
We need to be able to back up our decision with bylaws.
Well, what are,
And would we approve something like this
well,
on?
here's an angle to look at. If the people, I know this town doesn't do it too much, but if people let their grass grow too tall in many towns,
Yeah.
they'll provide, the neighbors can complain and the town can come by and say, you're ruining the value of the entity.
Yeah,
I did that for your lawn last year. Didn't say that was me, I just called it in.
Well,
Just kidding.
No, Warren's the one that went and mowed the bank.
I got a nice.
You were busy doing fireworks, so I got you.
I keep it pretty well mowed. But anyway, so the question is do we have a bylaw that requires people to maintain their property to some standard? I don't believe that we do.
No, unless it's a health or safety issue with the Board of Health, and at that point, the nuisance.
Okay, well, my point here is, since we don't have what you were looking for, which is a bylaw that requires that they maintain their property in some, my
well, the
my daughter
fence,
lives in Indiana, in Greenwood. They twice got a fine for letting their grass get over 8 inches tall or something. They find them and they will send the DPW to cut your grass and bill you. Neighborhood, I mean, they just, and if you don't paint your house, I mean, there are places like that are, but we don't have any of those laws. So to answer your question, though, we don't have a bylaw that we fall back on.
Well,
So
they just-
fence height.
Height bylaw, so they're asking for permission to exceed the height of the fence. So that's, and we're not making a decision on that. We're
we
just
have a lot
offering
of
a
places
planning
where
opinion.
that particular variance has been granted, Bay State down there, they have a taller fence in order to protect keep all of that equipment, everything behind the fence, so you don't even see any of their stuff. Bay State roofing guys there. And so there are reasons for having those fences of that height, but this may not be one of them, but I just know that we are.
In that case, like you said, that reason is for the aesthetic to hide stuff behind it.
To improve.
But if your extension and what you're doing is gonna take away from the aesthetic, then,
We don't have a bylaw though, to
right.
fall back on. So Billy's request, his question is right. We don't have a bylaw to fall back on. We have to be careful what we do.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends if the decision is based on aesthetics or not. I mean, if the decision is based on what's an appropriate height for a fence in a residential neighborhood, a variance is not an entitlement. A variance is granted,
Right.
discretion, so.
Well, I mean, so what we could do is say we have no objection to the variance, but we don't see the need for it or something like
If
that.
that's what your opinion is about it.
Could we have no opinion? And the reason.
Yeah, we could have no opinion. We've done that before.
I mean, the reason why I asked that, and I mean, and this is where I'm kind of deferring to you folks in terms of what is commonly inside the lines, but
Yeah.
it is clearly not an opportunity to litigate or investigate what's real and what's not real here. And we have been presented with information that falls somewhere in that kind of range.
May or may not be true.
That may or may not be true, and it's an ongoing issue. It looks like there's a lot of conflicting personality stuff, but this also seems to fall very much outside of what we can weigh in on within our work, because they're arguing that it's like a safety issue, but there's a lot of question as to whether it is versus something else. And so it's sort of like, I feel like I'm not being presented with the right set of info.
In my opinion, if they feel that they're being harassed, they need to get that their recourse is with the courts, with a protection order of some kind. That's when their protection is, not through the Board of Appeals and not through us.
So what would we vote, what would we decide here tonight to take away all the other stuff? It's just a straightforward ZBA. We want to put this on our house because we want it. Where would you be then?
Then I would say, I would probably say, I don't have any objection to a variance being granted, but I don't see the need or the value of putting this kind of fencing up in the neighborhood.
Can I ask?
That says I'm protecting the neighborhood, but it says that I'm not taking away their rights.
So maybe we just go with that.
Yep.
And we put that in there, taking away all of the, environmental factors,
That way,
looking at it with blinders on.
sure,
Here's our opinion.
that's what I just did.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you just say that last
Sure.
one more time?
Can I ask a quick question before we do that, though? Because Warren has said variance a few times, but a special
Oh,
permit.
I'm
is-
sorry. It's a special permit.
What's the difference? Just-
So in most communities, a fence height question would be a variance, but for some reason, our fence height, a fence height can be extended by special permit, not by variance. Usually, so a variance is a higher standard for issuing something and it has to be due to a hardship. A special permit can just be granted at the discretion of the ZBA.
Okay,
And the standard is much lower. It doesn't take away from, it doesn't substantially detract from, the neighborhood. Oh, which is an interesting consideration. but-
It does. So anyway, then I would just say that we don't have any objection to the permit, but we don't see the need for it. And that it affects the aesthetics of the neighborhood.
Okay, so,
So it made it clear that we don't like it, but we're not taking away their right to get a special permit.
okay, so no objection to the permit, but what did you say about the aesthetics, that we're concerned about the
No,
aesthetics?
we don't,
There's a letter in here from neighbors saying strictly it takes away from the aesthetics of the neighborhood. We could say that we agree with the.
I don't think we want
I don't know.
to take somebody else's words. We need to.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah, and I would just say, and this is where, again, like, this is where you guys tell me if I'm too far to somewhere, but it's sort of like, I don't want them to sort of see this and say, you care about aesthetics, but not about this, right? That's not the case. It's just, if we are.
Because that's not the avenue for relief that you need to take. That's the problem.
Exactly,
And a lot of it is
I
hearsay.
don't want to encourage them to think they can come here and get relief because they
Yeah.
can't.
yeah.
A lot of it's hearsay, a lot of it's just pictures in an email. And we can't prove or deny or disprove any of it.
So we can just say the final sentence, we use that we believe it detracts from the aesthetics of the neighborhood.
Okay,
So we've made it clear that we don't like it by saying that, but we've also said we're not taking away your right to get a special permit.
Has this meeting already happened?
No, it's tomorrow,
It's Thursday.
it's July 9th. Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, it's good to see Thursday. I might have to attend this. This looks like a good one. Bring your popcorn, let me get the popcorn.
for some other reason, I don't know what the reason was. I don't know if that's true, but I did hear that they would probably not be.
I think that's us for the rest.
Do you at the end of the ninth page?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
You
So
have,
the last 50 pages or this one?
Any updates?
Yeah, you have any,
Yeah, I did some updates.
We still have to accept the minutes from last.
Oh, we haven't done the minutes.
we have
Do
what?
you want me to do the movie thing, the motion thing?
Well, I do have a question on the meeting, minutes from last meeting. Since we're going to try and put the moratorium in for the data centers, there's nothing in the minutes from the last meeting
Oh, the two.
that we talked
No,
about
that
data
we talked
centers.
about it. Okay.
So there's
Oh.
nothing in there at all.
Okay, then what we'll do is we'll add that
Good.
and then we'll bring the minutes back.
Oh, okay, so you won't do it, so don't do the motion,
Yeah.
we'll just do it.
Yeah, I think we need to add that in there for.
There we
That makes it easy.
go. Bring it right back. I do have a few updates, but I also did kind of want to finish our discussion about possible zoning amendments because there were a few other things I wanted to ask you if you want to consider, and we can certainly put this on the agenda for next time too, because I know we probably don't have a ton of time to talk about all of it, but I did put together a memo just of some possible items we might also want to consider for October. And it's in the folder called additional. So there are a few things I thought might be a good time to address. Our zoning code is old. It's from 1977. It's been amended, but there are some things that pop up every now and again that I see and that Jerry sees and we're like, ooh, that should not be in there. And one of those things in the table of principal uses are a number of these protected uses, churches, educational facilities, things like that. Childcare centers are not in here, but I know we're going to be dealing with childcare center at the next meeting. These are all these Dover protected uses, which in some cases we prohibit in some zoning districts. In some cases, like certain religious uses are, require a special permit. We're really not allowed to do that. So my suggestion for that was going to be that I discuss with town council which items are now in conflict with, modern standards, not just Massachusetts laws, but there are also some federal restrictions for species. So that was what I was going to recommend, so that it could probably be a pretty simple bylaw amendment with just some cross outs and language changes in that table. Is that something we would want to consider for this town meeting?
Sure, your rationale's good, just to make it comply with state
Yeah, if we do a little fixing here and there, that's okay.
50 years.
I mean, if we just fix a couple of things and you don't want to bring too much at once.
I know, I agree. And I just think because we've had a number of things come up, the other thing is those battery energy storage center, those are a new Dover protected use. We have a child care center coming in, that's a protected use every so often.
See that power thing, that battery powered, that's a protected use. That's the thing that worries
Back
me.
to data centers.
That's what worries me about the data
But
centers.
yeah, so that's one thing. So I thought if it's okay with you, I'll go over with town council what should change, and then we can put together it'll be a pretty simple, I think, bylaw change for that, for town meeting. And then the other one I did want to talk about was the battery energy storage, facility. So the reason I'm bringing this up now is, the state has a new permitting scheme for these. They're kind of a 12-month timed, we have a certain amount of time to respond. It doesn't affect board review all that much. It's more of an internal process that we have to have like a designated person who takes in the application, certifies that it's complete. And it has to move through it like a consolidated permitting process through all of the boards, commissions, and departments within a year. And that's a new process that's going to be kicking in October of this year. And I talked to town council, and there's nothing we have to do in our bylaw, but given this is happening, we just want to consider that we are allowed to do site plan review on these, but we don't currently have any definition in our bylaw really for it at all. And the one that we did a site plan review for was on 500 River Park. What's that?
Oh, no, it's one out, no, Paradigm.
Yeah, so the only reason we brought that into site plan review is because it was taking away parking spaces on an already reviewed site plan and changing it. Otherwise,
That's what triggered it.
that's what triggered it.
Other than that, it would have just not even gone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So my suggestions for what we might want to do for this were
Give it next time.
memo. Oh, no, you know what? It's in the main folder for the memo, zoning amendments. Sorry, there's the best folder, there's the additional zoning amendments folder, and then separate from that, there's a memo. Okay, so I was gonna suggest that we look at what zoning districts we might want to allow them in. We can prohibit them in some, and where we might want to allow a special permit. What we've seen so far with bylaws from Attorney General's office reviews is that if we limit it only to being allowed to say 2% of the town's land area, that's not enough. That was Sherborne. But Wareham passed a bylaw that had 5.7% of the town's land area where it would be available for use, and that did pass. So
Let me ask you a question though. If this battery back up to AC power, what happens if somebody has a Tesla battery in their garage? Is there a size where we
Yeah, this home battery.
there's gotta be a.
yeah, there's exception for phones, and there would be a definition. So we don't currently have a definition in our bylaw, but we would add a definition.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
this is one of those things, the unintended consequences could come.
So I mean, this, I mean, would define like that this would be a facility, not a home use for charging an individual car. So we would go ahead and, you know, define it, and then we would probably want to say where it could and couldn't be allowed, and just say that it does trigger the special permit process.
So even though somebody might have 12 of these in their backyard, but it's at their home, that it's okay.
A lot of solar systems now are doing them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was
should
thinking of
say-
solar storage.
I have a Tesla battery on our house, right? And so the requirements to put that in were pretty strict. through
Right,
this.
you can't have, you have certain amount that you can max on solar, and then the battery storage element is like max.
And if you wanted to connect it to utilities, which wasn't, it was a thing in of itself, but there were requirements on sizing. And if you do have it in your home, it has to be inside a firebox. If it's not, then it has to be in certain places, distance outside. So I think, I just want to be careful for unintended consequences, like Warren is saying.
Yeah, no, I think it would be for
These are much cleaner.
residential.
You know, these are pretty, this is, you haven't gone out and looked at them, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
This is like
Industrial.
RMLD built this
Yeah.
This is.
Area in-
Yeah,
for, you know, for their backup, for their, not an individual home charging, but that would be something that would be included in the definition as being exempt from.
And the only reason why, because I'm generally supportive of taking a look at this, but I think we have to be careful with the language, because
Yeah.
most of the home use ones, they aren't just for home use. We sell energy back to the grid.
I don't think that that's part of.
It's small, so I'm
This.
assuming.
So that,
Are you actually selling energy back to the grid?
not from the battery,
Because RMLD doesn't allow that for solar,
there's a certain percentage they allow.
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Is that
So you sell back at a certain rate, but as soon as, if the battery doesn't kick in, as soon as you start buying back from them, it's like 4 times the price of what you're selling. And there's a maximum, I've looked into it, I'd really love to do it, but I haven't done it yet.
There's generally like no financial benefit to us to doing it. It's
Yeah.
just like we generate it. So we're like, well, once we have a backup, what are we gonna do with it? So
Yeah.
it's like, might as well kick it back to the grid.
Yeah, because what
But there's-
happens if you don't have the battery, and that's why solar really, to make it solar efficient, it needs a battery. Because during that time when you're not generating, you want to draw from your battery, else you're gonna pay peak.
I think you said that you sell it at 4 cents a kilowatt and you buy it back if you don't have the battery.
Like, if you don't have the battery, you're buying it back
Yeah.
at peak.
I used to
That's what
solar at my
happens
home, and I
whenever
output
it's used
my
on the
usage,
station.
except in like March.
Mhm.
And, but I just remembered RMLD.
yeah, well, anyway, that's my comment, that you don't want any
Right.
unintended consequences.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that
But yeah.
this is a situation where we're not gonna reinvent the wheel. Somebody's got. it already
Somebody's got our.
already.
Does?
Yeah, the state has them on
Yeah,
the
okay.
file. If you're interested in pursuing this for this town meeting, I can be working on definitions and suggestions for where they should go. And if you don't want to work on it for this town meeting, that's totally fine too. I just wanted to throw it out.
Yeah, I don't care if you want to put a little time into it, and then we'll take a look at a sample bylaw and see if it's.
That's my law.
See if you want to do it.
One thing to put a budget report, I'd be curious. Because I do remember that was something that came up, I think recently. We had a conversation with Chief Stats, and he was kind of like energy storage is something he cared about. Or EV charging more specifically, but just something to think about. I'd be curious in your research if that comes up.
Yeah, there's a fire review as part of what the state procedure is. Yeah, I mean, it does, yeah.
It's
it
a big
definitely-
deal.
Yeah.
With the batteries
Full
can't be
different
put out.
cameras.
Wait until
Well,
Boston
you
Fire
can.
says you can't put.
But you need a class D fire extinguisher. There's a class D.
Because if
fire
one of those things catches on fire, it's going to,
Big yellow fire
Integrity of the
extinguisher, keep it bringing around.
Can they do it?
I have to have.
We gotta go through all kinds of special
Like
training
HVAC
to have with the
Because
investors
they're
on
metal
airplanes.
fires,
It's,
so you need a
you know,
class D extinguisher, so I got a couple of them. They're $1,000 a piece.
Oh my God.
yeah, you can't go and check luggage, even if your team has fire suppression
But they'll
in
put your
storage,
fire out.
your luggage compartments.
That's
They
good
put
to
the
know.
fire out.
Maybe we'll make the
So,
investment for.
it has to be-
It terrifies me.
Like, where you can access it, yeah,
Class D.
because we have like bags and stuff that we're supposed to put computers in if they start running away. That's crazy. Yeah,
Okay, so I'll put together the outline one. We can talk about it more at the next meeting. If we want to go, that'd be great. If not, if there's no urgency to it. It's just that if we do get another facility, we might want to have something in there that says that at a certain size, we do site plan. We may decide we don't want to prohibit it anywhere. I mean, that might be in our interest to just allow it everywhere. I mean, RMLD periodically comes to the town to say, where have you got land that we could have? And some of the parcels that they looked at are in residential neighborhoods, and that may not necessarily be. So these are all things we've
Well, they
talked
can't
about.
use a real small site. They need a big site.
Yeah, they need a big site.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
so this would be.
So there's really no, we really don't have, if we have a site that big, we need a big site.
for stuff.
You know, so we really don't have, if you ever get a chance to go to Teradyne, go back and look at that field.
No, I've seen
They
it.
built
Yeah,
it.
I just thought I thought it was Amazon. I didn't-
My son goes to daycare back there, so I'm like, I'm familiar with
I have
it.
one more question.
The batteries and stuff.
Oh,
Maybe
it's way expensive.
commercial motors that don't exist anymore because, you know, there's no manufacturing.
Right.
It's like motors, so.
Well, they take those old batteries now and they tear them down and the rebuilt batteries actually have more staying power than the original batteries did.
Yeah.
Because they salvage the precious metals and everything out of the battery. And then, the reconstruction of it is at a higher quality than the original construction, so you get more use out of it.
5 more minutes, right?
Well, when you're side of the
Cell
road,
phone.
when you're side of the road a half a mile from the charging station, I'll take the 5 minutes.
That's true.
Just a question of curiosity, and I know we're putting it out there way too soon, but how far in advance do you have to start thinking about the next master plan?
5 years.
So we're 3 years away. So
We haven't started back in.
Well, I mean, it's every 5 years we have to renew it, so.
Every 10 years, it's recommended to renew. I think last time we did the master plan, it took us 1.5 2 years.
this one says 2020 to 2030.
Yeah,
So just curious, you know, is that something you would start doing in the next, think about doing in the next?
Well, there's a number of things, you know, there's also what is we have to do a recreational study as well.
the open space and recreation plan got extended to 2030 also.
Oh, did it? Okay,
Yeah, we got another 3 years on that.
all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we can start, looking for. I mean, there's a lot of grant funding available for master planning.
Yeah,
I'm just curious, I didn't know how long it took to create a master plan or.
well,
So
old
you take the one
master
you
plan is
have.
like
and
a
you-
template.
What's that? Just kind
The
of. update that.
original, the old master plan is like a template. You can take it and go through it and see what we accomplished or what we didn't get an idea of what else we looked at in there. It gives you an idea where to go, so.
I think we also want to, there really wasn't great consensus on the last master plan. There was
Amongst the
there wasn't a
boards,
lot of agreement. I'm sorry.
amongst the boards or as far
Yeah,
as,
amongst this board, the finance committee, the select board, the steering committee for the plan itself,
Yeah.
the public, I mean, there was a lot of disagreement about.
The facilities master plan committee. Everybody had. their
Yeah, there was
idea.
No one was really on with what ended up in it. I mean, I shouldn't say no one, and there are aspects of it that I think were,
But we also put things like, we had all these consultants, so we took input from those consultants, put that in there.
well, they wrote it, so.
Yeah, so when it came time to do something like when we tried to do that whole project on the Heffron property down there, we matched it up to the master plan, and they still said no, so.
I mean, it's not a binding plan, but it's helpful if we can use it to get consensus, but our plan was not really the result of much consensus at all.
Yeah.
So I would probably want to look at the perspective again, because I think opinions probably.
Well, things have changed too, so.
Can I raise a couple of things too before we adjourn, actually?
What's that?
Well, the first one is related to the EBC. And I think it's related to the master plan a little bit as well, which is why I'm like, hey. One of the things that I did want to do, and I wanted to run it by you guys to see if I could get some input on the approach, is I would like one of the projects that we focus on to be a plan where we identify parcels for redevelopment or development. And this is something Danielle and I had chatted about a little bit, or more I harassed Danielle.
So we did that before.
We don't have anything current, I think.
No, we haven't talked, but we did do that once before.
And that would be great, because what I was thinking about was, there's a lot of data online. I think what we can do is we can use that to identify particular lots that can be used for other purposes, potentially leveraged for grants, and revisiting where you were, Warren, with the town-owned property for sewer, right? And just kind of understanding, is that one of our options? What else can we do with these parcels? Can we market certain parcels more aggressively for business purposes? That's something that I'd like to focus on a little bit with the EDC. But if we've done it before as well, I mean, was it the same kind of data approach, or was it something different? Like, how could we don't have to dive into it right now, but that's kind of what I wanted to start.
I think we did in conjunction with the EDC in the very beginning. We tried to give them some properties to work with. So I don't remember what.
Well, the beginning of the EDC was kind of reformed to redevelop the Old State Hospital property, which was
Right.
Martin's Landing, and that was kind of their main task. And that was a really good focus for a board for a couple of years until it happened.
Yeah.
They didn't move on to another property focus. There wasn't anything quite as big or as meaningful, but there certainly are other properties. And some properties that we previously identified as needing development have already been developed now, which is great, but we should take a fresh look at what's there. I'm still very attached to the idea of doing something with 70 Concord Street, the brownfield site, Hallmark Park. And there are other parcels like that, and
But the cleanup of that site, I know the states have agreed to do a lot of it, but
they did a lot of it.
yeah, so I don't know how much is. I think it's still Superfund site, right? That's not.
Yeah, it's not clean.
Yeah.
I think that's a great project for the EDC, and I think it would be a nice thing to take another look at now.
Well, I wonder if they'd let them do what, for example, Haverhill did along the river there. Where they,
Recently.
well, no, a number of years ago, because there's all the shoe factories and everything, and the chemicals from those factories were down in the ground, down deep, and they dug down, and I want to say like 30 feet. They took all the soil out, and then they put a clay barrier in, and filled it all back in, and then built all along that whole shore, after doing what would be considered they called it, it's clean. It's clean as deep as it needs to be clean, because nobody's gonna go in, and the idea was to get the chemicals away from the people, so it's not gonna nobody's gonna dig any deeper than this, so this is good. Well, that's what they did. To make that land all usable again. It's all been developed now.
Would that be a nice function as far as collaboration between the LUC and the EDC to identify
To be honest with you, I
land?
don't totally
And
know what the LUC. Maybe.
Their primary goal was to do recreational.
Yeah, we were talking about LUC last night at Parks and Rec meeting, and they're more involved with Hillview and
Yeah,
parks, the recreation stuff.
Right.
We could absolutely, reach out to Rita and Rita Mullen and see if she has any bid. She probably knows more about all the available parcels of land in town, but
I think it's,
probably right up there with Warren,
is there where the data set came from? Do you remember, or was it an export from
It was an expert from the assessor's data.
assessors? Yeah. I think, and I want to be clear too. I mean, my focus that I'm really curious about is bringing in commercial as well. And so it's really kind of like, I think it's a wave, right? So you could start with commercial, then you could think about other uses, but I don't particularly think it has to be owned by one group. So if they already have a lot going, it would be really exciting to see where we can grab some momentum and keep going. But if that, I mean.
I think as we've seen, a big part of the problem is you have a lot of landowners, especially along Main Street, that just aren't.
There's a lot of absentee owners.
Yeah.
See what you think.
I know we had spoken about that sort of thing as far as, and I think I had said Melrose maybe had some kind of increased tax for vacant and derelict you know, I mean, to sell, make it too expensive to keep holding on to.
That's
It-
That's kind of difficult to do, I think. I think that might be considered illegal.
Well, I think there are laws on the books in other towns that have that sort of thing. So there's precedent.
I think really what most of those laws are the ones I was talking about, where if you have a lot like that, you can't just let it sit, you gotta mow it, keep it clean and, you know, and,
That you can do, and that cities do that, but it's like beyond the safety part,
yeah,
very difficult.
Yeah.
To draft something.
yeah, that's, I agree.
I think that's kind of the thing, is like, once we identify what these parcels are, we at least have transparency around the ones that are sitting there for the property. Because we know what they are, it's on the assessor's report. So
You can,
good to start there, I think.
we've done quite a bit of, and we've had quite a few consultants in looking at, doing all that research for us and looking at all these properties. And they've not really, I know we had all these properties looked at with one of our consultants, so.
I mean, not recently, and I
No.
think that they're different properties now. I mean, there are.
A lot of it's the same, a lot of it, but there was the whole thing where they were like, what you need to do is to consolidate, like all the properties with like Dan's Auto Body and all that stuff. You need to consolidate all those into one big lot so that it can be redeveloped. Because all of those, you know, all those little tiny small lots and all those small businesses on, they're not gonna kick them out, you know?
Well, and then what's
They're
the
not
other
gonna
thing?
take their land.
What's the one thing that all the consultants always say anyways? Sewer. Sewer brings.
Which brings me to my second thought. I think we had talked about this when we had the meeting back in June. Like, I think you've done a lot of work in that space and we were gonna revisit it.
Yeah, I'm gonna visit that with Rich Wallner, because he's, seems to be wanting to head this whole thing up, so. We need support. What we need is we need support from the people that hold the purse strings.
Can you do that? Can you go tell them to come over? Start with phase
I've
one.
tried it before, I've tried it before, and they said, North Reading is never gonna own a treatment plant, a package treatment plant. It's never gonna happen, we're never gonna do it. So now we have a package treatment plant at the high school, and they're busily hooking everything downtown up to this package treatment plant. It looks like they found a brand new toy. So, I mean, I just, you know, I'm like, I can't say I told you so, but I told you so.
See, this is what I want to do. I want to give Warren a platform to go shout about it.
Well, like we talked about last time, you know, the biggest thing I heard, just being a citizen, I wasn't even on this committee at the time. Biggest problem that I know about was that there was going to be a lien on all the houses along the route. You forced people to either do it now, or there's gonna be a lien on your house and you have to do it before you can sell your house. And a lot of people were just, I was there.
Yeah, they're like, I just got
That was
a
their
new
hard line of
septic system 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm not.
No, it was a real financial hardship for, you know, especially.
Just so you'll understand. And again, I spent 15 years on this committee, so there's not much I don't know about it. However, the town has the option of deciding how much people pay to hook up. They can do 5%. The town can kick in 5%, 10%, 100%.
and that's fine. You tell the abutters along the route, hey, this is how much it's gonna cost you to hook up right now. You waive that, and that price is no longer valid if you want to hook up 10 years from now, 5 years from now. That is
Well, I mean,
whatever,
I'm sure you can.
whatever it is at the time.
I'm just letting you know that
But
that's,
the lien on
that's
the
not-
houses.
Weston and Sampson were the ones that did it with the engineering firm that we worked with, and they're the ones that are running the treatment plant down here now.
Yeah.
Weston and Sampson, so they're the ones that we talked to about this, but you could, you can do it any way you want.
But to make the model work, you know,
To make the model work,
They
the
had to do
hookup to the house has to be no more than half what it would cost to put a septic system in.
Yeah.
That's how you get them.
And to Bill's point though, is if you don't, you know, make it mandatory or make it 10 years or whatever, that affected their financial model, the way they presented it. So that's why they had to make.
His suggestion is really good because it encourages, and again, and added to the suggestion I just made, it will get more people to hook up upfront. That means that the money coming in upfront to pay the SRF back, because all the money comes from the state revolving fund to do this work and everything. And the commission, which is requires an act of the legislature to create the commission, because they have the ability to tax and to take property and to put liens and everything else. So they have to be an official thing, almost like a state.
Sewer commission.
Yeah, so the sewer commission. So the sewer commission are the people who pay the SRF back, not the people who live up on McIntyre Crossing. They don't pay nothing other than their share of what the town is using. Other than that, that's all they pay. But the town does have to sign on to the whole project up front.
I mean, I think I would just say, I think that there's been a lot of change in the last few years and people recognizing the value.
Right now, if you wanted to get, right now, my guess right now is if you wanted to get sewer in Main Street and the treatment plant, you're talking about 64 million.
I mean, you'd know, not me.
Those 130 might go back before.
Most of that was coming down, they only had like 51 million of that had anything to do with piping in North Reading. But we only need, but a package treatment plant is only a $2 or $3 million. They were, used to be $1 million, but they're probably $3 million now for a treatment plant. And the treatment one, and it's expandable. So you don't have to build a huge one right off. You can build your good base unit and then expand it as you build your customer base.
Yeah, I think that's worth. I'm going to.
And if you get some of
the green.
yeah.
I mean, that's a similar like high school. And we gave them the go ahead to kind of, they put a new shell around it. If you notice that over there.
Yeah.
And think about how many units that handles. That's a very water intensive.
Well, so there's,
So like a lot of the businesses
Edgewood has the treatment
down,
plant.
they don't need all that. They don't have that kind of GPD almost, that's very dense and that one
Yeah.
facility handles that whole apartment complex.
And because, and the one, and of course, the one up in the Edgewood, is pretty high tech, pretty high quality, because they're in a zone too, so they have to create tertiary quality, which is almost drinking water.
But aren't they having issues?
Clearance for that particular site, in order to be able to put back. But the value to that is, when you build a septic system, they do a perk test, which is what they call the LTAR, which is a long-term acceptance ratio. So when you make that determination for a septic system, there's some pretty strict rules in Title V. And if you basically, the best you can get is 0.75 gallons per square foot. That's on the class 1 soils, all sand. However, if you take the water out of that treatment plant, put it in there, you can get like 4 or 5 gallons per square foot. So you don't need as big a leach field when you create a high quality product going back into the ground. Now, those the big conflict is like Edgewood. If you were building another one of those, you might want to create a dual water system. So you have the drinking water quality stuff, and then
Great water,
you have the
irrigation.
Aren't they having issues with like smell?
I mean, there's all kinds of ways to skin this cat, but
Yeah.
there's a start some way.
They are having, is it prevailing wind or that kind of thing?
Yeah,
Certain days, that. You're
That
getting
was a big
smell.
deal in there.
It would be, it's pretty concentrated area.
Yeah.
And we figure something else out, right? But I think it's worth, let's bring it back up. Let's put it on the agenda.
Well, we have another ace in the hole if we want to use it. That is the postal facility. They have a huge septic system back there, and they're out of compliance about half the time.
Yeah.
They got stuff from the DEP, a lot of compliance of it. They don't maintain their system, and it just gets all plugged up, and then they fail their inspection, and then they fix it, and then they go back there. But what they said, they're the ones that gave us the money to buy the piece of land which we own for the treatment plant. See, this is one of the things. Every time you go to town meeting, we don't want to buy any more property. And when you can say, okay, guess what? We already own the property. We bought We got $100,000 from the postal facility. We bought the piece of land to put the treatment plant on. It's already ours. So there's no land purchase. They go, that really takes all the wind out of the sails usually.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing you can hear at San Town meeting. We're not buying any more land. You don't have, yeah. So,
And you just have to sell one at 70.
so we can have, they said, if you'll take our sewage, you can have our leach fields. Well, their leach fields need to be cleaned up a little, but with the quality effluent they were gonna put in it, we can get a huge amount of water out of, into the ground in their leach fields. But it's taken maybe 15% of it back.
That's a great spot.
Well, I mean, these are all things that have been, these are all things that have been worked out. I think I'm the only one that even knows any of this stuff.
Well, we gotta put it on the agenda, Danielle. We have to go hunt down Richard Wallner.
He was supposed to do something. I tried, I called him back, he never returned my call.
He's my neighbor. I'll go knock on his
I
door.
went round and round.
Like that, a joint meeting with the select board would be better, because I think if we have individual members, just like only a few, like it kind of need a full
I
consensus.
think it depends on the purpose, right? The purpose is to catch us up. And that's why I would say, like, if the select board is already aware of all this, then this would catch us up to where they are. If they're not, then I hear you and I defer. But that would be my only thought.
It's always about the money with the select board, okay? And they just don't, there's always something more important than this. And I have to say, so we did do a study. And I don't remember if you were here, Danielle, when they did it, they said, well, what is the value of the select board wanted the study done? I don't remember what it costed, but what is the projected increase in taxable income by expansion of building on Main Street if we put sewer in? And it was not a big number. It was relatively modest, as a matter of fact, maybe even small. And I'm not surprised, because it takes a long time for those properties that are on there to take advantage of the fact that sewer is in the street. But they're not going to do it.
You might have a hard time.
And we also had an agreement which may have elapsed, which because when the DEP gives you all your permits and everything, there's a bunch of stuff you have to go through. There's a bunch of permits you got to get. And one of the things that they require is that you take care of the quote environmentally sensitive areas, in this case, Ponds Pond, first. We said we can't do that because we got no money. So they did agree that we could do the commercial street first and then do the environmentally sensitive area after. But that's also another one of the things that's fraught with issues. Because we take the little 1-bedroom house over there and you put sewer in Ponds Pond, and they want to put a 5-room mansion on top of it. So they ask you, whoa, wait a minute. You're only allowed 1 more bedroom than you already have, there has to be rules. So there's a lot of aspects to this that takes some time to put together. I know what they all are, but don't forget anything.
We're not gonna get very far with it tonight, so probably reach out to select board and go for that.
Well, he called me and I talked to him about it, and then we were supposed to meet, and then it was like, there was something, and I called him once, he says, well, I had some kind of a conflict. His wife's, something with his wife's thing, I don't know, something. And I said, he said, I'll get back to you, and then he gave it, so. Right. So I don't know what that was, didn't ask, and I just moved on.
I had one other, it's not really an update, it's more of a question. I was contacted by the developer, Germano Drive. Looks like they need a retaining wall along the entryway. 4-foot wall, but extending around the corner at about 80 feet. And he knows he needs a building permit for it. It's not on the subdivision plan. I mean, normally we don't get too involved in reviewing the signage or the decorative walls at the entrances of subdivisions. I don't really remember us ever doing that.
No,
But I just wanted to ask you, this is
if
something.
it's less than 4 feet, or if it's 4 feet or less, then it doesn't require a building.
So it does require a building.
It does?
Yes, it does, because it's gonna be about 4 feet.
Okay.
So it will come in for a building permit. My bigger concern would be, we can't have it impacting the drainage in any negative way, because the drainage
Right.
scheme has been approved for that.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to relook at that.
My thought was that I would ask him for a plan showing the revised drainage and have it reviewed either by the town engineer or
Why'd you give
GM2. But beyond that, as far as the aesthetics, the look of it, are you interested in seeing it? I mean, normally we don't, but it
I'd
seems
say-
big enough that I
I'd
want.
say yes, and only because there's history with this CPC, whether it's when I was on it and then before with walls. And then, you know what I mean? And then they find out they're just using a crappy unilock wall that looks awful. And when there's a lot of that crappy looking, then the neighbors will look at us and go, why'd you do that? And why'd you allow them? So I'd rather see what they're proposing
Okay,
and nail that down so that we're doing the service to the neighbors. So again, if it's small wall,
yeah,
I don't
we
care.
want to see the wall detail,
Yeah.
aesthetic, we want to know it's.
That's all the aesthetic.
Interested in stone with a built-in bench. It looked pretty. It's not the plan. He showed me it's the more of a concept of
Right.
somewhere else, but like.
Well, we can kind of nail them down and say, that's what you're building, that's good. And Jerry's in charge of, you know.
The permitting, and then we have to make sure the drainage is not. So I do need a plan from him that includes the drainage and the Jerry needs an actual. So I'll tell him we want the wall detail.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Well, they got to do it for Jerry anyway.
Well, yeah, but if he needs for a building, it's going to be a little bit different. Well,
We switched to this.
That need magic words from Lauren.
Pardon?
We need magic words from you.
Oh, all right. If that, seeing no more business before the board, I will, we are adjourned.